Hey, podcast listeners. Dana here. Can I let you guys in on a little secret? Just between us. We like all of you much, much more than the folks that listen live. But no matter how, when, or where you check out the Hams podcast, we got to give thanks to our friends at Standard Heating for making it all possible. It's been a pretty tame winter so far, but we know well enough that we're not out of the woods yet. So hit up standardheating.com to get them out to your house to make sure your furnace is tuned up to do all of the furnace-y types of things it's supposed to do. I'm still learning the lingo. Make that appointment today. Become a Smart Club member like me. That's standardheating.com. Enjoy the show.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
Welp. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead with our Wednesday broadcast. Welcome to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. Let's check in real quick with Cubby's sick voice. Josh, give him a sample of what your early morning sick voice sounds like today.
I think it's a little better than yesterday.
Oh, it's back to normal.
Oh, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you sound great, man. Close.
It's pretty much back to normal. I didn't expect that because when I first walked in and said, "What's up, fruitcake?" you said,
Yeah, I've been clearing a lot of what I like to call phlegm from what I like to call my throat. Kind of doing that as much as possible.
You sound almost back to normal.
I'm getting there.
All right. Oh, it ought to be a hell of a deal today. Ought to be a hell of a deal. Short week, with President's Day and all, at least for us. I don't know about the rest of you. I was chuckling, Josh. Speaking of work and whatnot, I just read that. See if I can put this correctly. 4 people, I already screwed it up. Not 4 people. 4% of people say their ideal work week is one 40-hour shift. I couldn't stop smiling when I read that. I mean, come on, you'd go out of your mind. You'd end up hurting yourself or somebody else. 4% of people say their ideal work week is one 40-hour shift, and then we'll go home.
Well, you do that 40-hour shift, then you're going to spend like the next 80 hours sleeping, I would think.
Well, either that or in the emergency room.
Yeah.
Or in court or in jail because you 40 hours straight, you end up killing yourself or somebody else.
I'm with the 2% of people who said they'd prefer to work 220s.
220s?
I could do 220s.
You could not do 220s.
Well, I could in my 20s.
In your 20s,
yeah,
you could
maybe
have done...
not in my late 40s, soon to be 50s.
Oh, wow, that got me. Yeah, 220s, I'm not built for that. I'm not built for much anymore. I mean, I'm about out of gas over here, but that was good. I'm guessing those people were joking, but they said, just give me one 40-hour, assuming that assuming that we're going off of a 40-hour work week. Just give me 140.
Yeah, they're not really thinking of what happens to your brain if you stay up that late. I had plenty of times when I was a bartender where I just would get home from the bar maybe at like 4 in the morning and I couldn't get to sleep. There was a bad stretch of time where I was overtired, so I just couldn't fall asleep. And I think in 72 hours, I maybe got 2-3 hours of sleep, and I was going crazy. I was crying at times where crying was very unnecessary.
How long of a shift would lead up to this crying and this sleeplessness?
At that time, so it would be after about a 12-hour shift, and then I couldn't get to sleep. And yeah, it was bad. Like I thought I was losing my mind.
You do get delirious, yeah.
You know what you needed in those moments? Josh knows. You needed some of that boogie woogie.
Yeah, the real boogie woogie.
You would have gone straight to sleep had you had a bag of that boogie woogie.
That would have helped a lot.
Oh man,
cops.
Yes.
If there's cops or firefighters, or you don't know if it's the same with paramedics, but if there's
what the hell was that?
Did I clear my throat?
You went, right, but you did it so subtly in between words, it was almost like a syllable.
Yeah, it was
my family's famous for that.
You are a throat clearer.
Yeah,
all of you. Yeah.
Maybe we can attach a prize to it the next time it happens. When you hear the sound of the day.
That one was so fast, you said cops or firefighters.
I was trying to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Well, so with their schedules, when they have, I'll just say 7 days on, 5 days off, or whatever it is. Text us do you like that schedule? Because I always thought that might be kind of cool, right? Where you just work several days in a row, 7, 8 days in a row,
And
and then you get a week off.
Take a week.
But maybe that ends up sucking. Plus, they work a lot of hours during that time.
My sister and brother-in-law absolutely love it when they work. They're nurses.
Oh, so nurses do the same?
Yeah,
they do.
A lot of them can. Yep.
That's got to be exhausting.
We could use one of those in the building.
I was thinking yesterday we should have just a paramedic standing by.
Just a resident nurse.
Back in my younger days of working warehouse gigs, man, did we work with some characters. When I say we, I mean my buddy Dane and I. We worked at his dad's warehouse, and we just had a riot. I've told you the stories before. Just the characters there. All we did all day was laugh our asses off because it was just a circus. There was one feller. Oh, at the time, he was in his mid-30s. Jesus, I can't believe how long ago this was. And I can't believe that the company allowed him to do this. But a few times while Dane and I were working there, he would just check in at 7 a.m. and work as long as he could. And he did a couple of 24-hour shifts because it was a 3-shift building. It was a day, evening, and overnight. And they allowed him to operate heavy machinery and just work as long as he wanted because he needed the money, and they liked the guy. But I remember a couple times coming in, Dane and I worked days at first, and then we ran the night shift for a while too, and that's when the fun really kicked in with the characters that worked nights. But I remember a couple of mornings coming in at 7 a.m. to start work, and dude had been there for 24 hours, and he looked like he was totally and completely insane, and he admitted he was seeing things. Mm-hmm. He admitted he was hearing things, and I thought, that was only 24 hours, let alone a 40-hour shift, which, as we've already established, it got to be humanly impossible. Is that how you say it, Josh?
Yeah, I follow.
But this guy looked like a complete madman when we'd walk in. Those were fun times.
So it looks like most people who have those several, 6, 7, 8 days on and then a week off or whatever, enjoy it. Those rotating schedules.
They're happy. That's nice.
Yeah.
I enjoy work no matter what. That's a lie. I don't always. I don't know, but what are you going to do? You got to pay the bills. Oh, and Cubby, you know what else I was just reading about? You and I are a lot cooler than you even think we are. Did I say that properly? You and I are even cooler than you think we are.
I never thought I was part of that cool equation, but I'll jump in there.
I was reading about things people underestimate because anyone can do it, but it actually requires a lot of skill. Things people underestimate because anyone can do it, but actually require a lot of skill. I guess what they mean there is it requires a lot of skill to do it well. And one of the skills on the list is something that you and I used to be very involved in years ago, and that is handling a hacky sack.
That's so hard. I hate it.
We used to play hacky sack so much back in the day.
So that
I
is
suck at that.
that is apparently an underestimated skill. Folks can do it, but it takes a lot of skill to do it well. And we used to spend just about every day after we got off the air around here 25 years ago, we would go out in the parking lot, weather permitting, and kick around a damn hacky sack.
That's so funny to me.
We did that too. After high school, we'd either go to the beach or Northland Mall, and we'd hang out, and someone would always bring out a hacky sack. A dirt bag.
What were we doing? What were we doing?
Well, it wasn't our call.
It was just
not that we were against it, but it wasn't our idea.
Well, right. It wasn't as if we supplied the sack. There were two full-on, all-in hippies in the building.
Yeah.
And we actually just kind of joined them. We walked outside one day, and there they were with their Birkenstocks on their feet. Did I get the correct brand?
Yeah,
Birkenstock.
Well, one of them was barefoot for a while in his
Sometimes
life.
barefoot. Usually, a raggedy shirt that said Fish or Jerry Garcia or something, the long, unwashed hair. So we befriended these hippies and joined their hacky sack circle. And I have to admit that I really enjoyed it. I did. I didn't think I would.
With those guys.
I think we busted their balls at first when we walked outside and saw them hacky sacking. We said, what the hell? This is embarrassing. Get away from our building if you're going to do this. We don't want people to think that we're some, But then we enjoyed it, and I think we got quite good at it. And then the hacky sack ended up on the roof of the building, and we never went back.
And then you pooped yourself.
Well, there was a sharding episode one day while we were hacky sacking.
I mean, your body's in positions that just lead to that.
It totally makes sense.
Proved my dedication to the game, I think, that I
totally agree.
Yeah.
Bowling also makes that list for, everyone can do it, but it takes a lot of skill to do it well. And you've heard me go on this program detailing my appreciation for bowling, my love for the game. I wish I had the time. But I just don't.
I have a friend who's an incredible bowler.
And I wish that was me. I so much love to do it, and I love to watch it. I even watch it on television as often as I can, and I get made fun of for watching it on television. But it is just, sense. What makes sense?
That you're made fun of?
Yeah.
It is a beautiful game to watch, and I'll argue that to the death when I don't need to go any further. But bowling makes this list of, sure, a 5-year-old can go roll a ball down a lane, but to do it really well, underestimated skill.
I'm terrible at bowling.
Well, you're not built for it. You're just so frail. You know what I mean? You're going to have to throw the 9-pound ball, and it's not going to do the damage that you need to the pins.
That's a lot.
I'm up to a 10.
You're not throwing the 10 yet.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to get a hernia.
10-pound ball with the medium holes.
I'm super good at it. You know how you choose your angles for the rail, right? When you're going to try and just bounce it off the rail and you just can get it in there.
You use the rails and the banking?
Yeah, like most people do. You just kind of bank it right off one side. Never had one gutter ball.
Nice.
Short but fat Sheezes. Oh, Christ, she checked in yesterday. And we read one of your texts aloud yesterday. Short but fat. She says, what about darts?
That's another one. That seems like it should be a lot easier than
anyone could do it. But if you're damn good, it should be more respected. It's underestimated. Sure, I'll go along with darts.
Mm-hmm. I love darts.
Yeah, me too.
I can throw a dart. I could hit Josh in the nipple. I bet you from 50 yards out with a dart.
Well, I have giant areolas, so you pick somebody else to be impressed with.
I've never liked darts too much. I'm pretty good. It's one of those things we had a dartboard in my basement growing up. I never really thought much of it. And then when I've played against people, they're like, whoa, where is this coming from? I don't know, just hit the board with the dart. It's really not that, doesn't seem that difficult.
We got one of those axe throwing deals, kind of like a dartboard, little plastic one.
Oh, yeah.
It sucked.
Yeah.
Aww. Yeah, I mean, it was. I suppose if you spend $35 on something like that, it's probably going to suck.
That is something that I didn't expect to take as much skill as it does, is that axe throwing. Because I've been to plenty of those, and I can never get it down.
I've never tried.
Stick, yeah.
I've never tried the. This has been a hip thing now for a few years, where you grow a beard. First things first, you grow a beard or an old-timey mustache, right?
Yep.
You fake a love for craft beer.
Yep.
And then you go to one of these joints and you throw axes, and everyone's jeans are rolled up, right? And they're wearing flannel.
You got suspenders.
Yes.
Suspenders. I have not tried this yet, but I'm just as lethal with a knife as I am with a dart. I don't know if axe throwers, do they respect my style, which is knife throwing, or is there a rivalry? I don't know. But I could kill you from across the room blindfolded with a knife, Josh. I'm a killer with a knife.
That's cool.
Where was I going with this? People are texting in now. What about pocket billiards? Did that make the list of an underestimated skill? What about truck driving? What about bricklaying? Let me just give you what different skills the article covered. What did I give you already? Hacky sack and bowling. Driving. Now, okay, there you go, truck driver who texted in. Says here, everyone ends up driving, but if you're really, really good at it, it should be more respected. It's an underestimated skill. And they mentioned defensive driving, maneuvering in traffic, having a feel for the road, parking. Sure, I'll go along with that.
It is kind of crazy. You know, I'm sure everybody listening right now has seen it where you wonder, who gave that person a license?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's frightening.
That does not seem okay.
It's friggin' frightening.
Including loved ones.
Driving. So there you go. This is an interesting one. Substitute teaching.
I think you got to have a lot of patience, well, for any teacher, but certainly a substitute. Because my word, are you? Well, I don't know if it's the same, but back in the day, I mean, even some of us students felt bad for the substitute teachers.
Our goal was to make them cry, and we accomplished that a couple times.
I always felt so bad for the subs.
Oh yeah,
Definitely that lame kid that would like act like I'm trying to pay attention to them while the rest of the class is freaking out because I just felt so bad. Like I wanted to make eye contact. Like, hey, I'm listening. I care about what you have to say.
Dork.
Our goal was to make them cry. Okay, God, I hope this goes by quickly because I know how you folks operate. Cooking. Okay, next on the list is...
That's a skill I wish I had.
Oh, here we go again.
Yeah, it definitely is a cool skill to have.
Oh, God.
It doesn't really do much for me other than I can just feed myself. But yeah, I guess it's a pretty cool skill.
You can feed your fiancé. Keep him happy.
That is true.
Right now, you're eating for two.
That's so true.
Do you have any weird cravings yet?
Oh, I can only think of one. You take those dill pickles, the whole dill pickles, cut them in half, put cream cheese, and then hot Cheetos on them.
That's your pregnancy craving?
It's so good, dude.
Hot Cheetos
So
on
good.
it. That's wild.
Jesus.
Is it kind of a big dill?
It's a huge deal on that one.
Ashley, if I did that, I wouldn't allow anyone in the same room with me for a day and a half afterwards. Now, I don't want to know any stories behind the after effects of an endless amount of dill pickles filled with cream cheese and hot Cheetos. I don't want to hear the stories. I'm just saying if it was me, I wouldn't allow anyone in the same house with me possibly for a day and a half.
It'd be more normal if
That
you
would
wrapped
kill
it
you.
with ham. Then it'd be some Minnesota sushi, they call it.
I'm going to wrap
Oh, I've
you.
never heard that before.
I wish. I can't have ham, though.
That's awesome.
Ham.
Why can't a lady eat hams?
You're not supposed to have lunch meat unless it's like nuked for a really long time. Something with like nitrates and
Oh, yeah, I heard that about
bacteria.
corn dogs,
You're
too.
talking about for a pregnant lady?
Yeah, you're not supposed to eat. Yeah, I really want a cola.
My brother and I were conceived while my folks were both eating lunch meat.
Yeah, exactly. That's
I know,
what
but
my parents
All of
say.
that
Yeah,
stuff is so
definitely.
overrated.
I know.
Another underestimated skill. Everyone does it, but it does actually require a lot of skill to be very good at it. Starting and running a business, my God, yes. I wouldn't have idea one as to how to.
I don't know why that's on this list.
Yeah, because I don't think not everyone
No.
can do that.
I mean,
Oh,
sure,
yeah.
I could operate a lemonade stand if I needed to in a pinch,
Yeah.
but in actual
Yeah.
business,
In
get out of
actual
here.
business, no.
I didn't.
This shouldn't be on the list.
I didn't consider that, Josh, but you're right. Why would this make a list of something that anyone can do, but it requires a lot of skill? Because not anyone could start and run a bit. You're right. Work in a fast food, how do you say it, cash register, the drive-through person. And I love when folks like this get recognized for what they do.
That was a skill. That
Being able to,
definitely was.
I still don't get it. You're on the headset. You're taking this order. You're making change for this person. You're running a card and you're keeping track of who. How in the living hell does anyone do that even half well, let alone well?
Oh yeah, because you're counting change, then you have to get someone's order. You're trying to hand it out the window.
Not a chance I could do that.
That's too much multitasking.
And nowadays, you're resolving fights and you're trying to keep people from beating each other up.
So would you say you were, Wapple, were you one of the top dogs at McDonald's with the register cat? What do you call it? A drive-through?
Yeah, I was pretty good. Yeah, I was, because I started out in the lobby, so then, you deal with the walk-up customers, and I got that super quick. So then they're like, all right, let's toss them back there.
This kid's a ringer. Let's give him to the drive-thru.
Was it nerve-wracking at first?
Definitely.
I really like that fast food, how do you call it, drive-through register people made this list. Sure. And you could put anyone in front of that friggin' register with the headset on, but the ones who do it well, good for you, because I wouldn't have a chance.
Well, and now a lot of drive-thrus have 2 drive-thrus that you have to work.
I always wonder how they figured that out.
All right, here's something else. Yeah, sure, any swinging D could do it.
There's the Burger King by me. They're so fast that sometimes I'm home and didn't even remember ordering. How did that even happen? I went through this line so fast.
Say with the Burger King by me. Maybe they got something going on there.
It's like they transcended time. Underestimated skills here. Okay. Being able to give good instructions, like a new task at work, a project at home, how to get somewheres, how to help with something. So just being good at giving instructions, sure, okay, I'll go along with that. I can't. I wish I had a story for you, but I don't. Dancing, singing. Dancing and singing make the list.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I'm going to send a chill up Cubby's spine here with this next underestimated skill. Public speaking.
Yeah, just having the courage to do something like that, first and foremost.
That's not something that you line up for very often.
No.
Despite what you've been doing for a living for the last 30 years.
I hate it.
It's so different, though, Josh. It's so different than seeing the people. Then they're looking at you and they're picking you apart.
Yeah, my wife does that. And I don't know how my wife doesn't like to make phone calls, but she stands up in front of people and talks all the time.
Maybe it's because she's talking about something she actually wants to talk about when she's standing in front of people.
Oh, then she's going to love giving my eulogy. She'll be pumped that day.
Both of you.
I used to be really good at speaking in front of people. It never bothered me throughout school. Like, I loved being the person that went first for school presentations. But ever since I've gotten into my 20s, it's just, I've lost that skill completely. I get nervous, clammy.
Yeah, it is what it is. Some don't even blink. Others are scared.
Oh, yeah,
stiff.
Like stage announcements and things like that.
I blame popcorn for giving kids our age more anxiety. When you were reading,
Popcorn reading?
Yeah, it was the worst.
Wait a minute.
What are we talking
We're
about?
not talking about the snack I have almost every day?
No, so you'd be reading like something in school, like a textbook or whatever, and you would read a couple lines, and then you would say popcorn, and then you would pick someone, and they had to read
next. They had to go next.
So then the whole time you're just like, don't pick me.
No, I never. We never played that game.
Yeah, we didn't.
Oh, it sucked because you would be sitting there and one of your friends would get picked, so know that you knew you were gonna get picked next.
Yep.
So you were trying to read ahead and make sure there's no difficult words. The worst feeling ever.
Yep.
Oh no, I would do that same thing because I would read ahead because I couldn't say my R's and L's, and I would just be like, oh no, please, no.
I always enjoyed it. All right, folks are texting in with their additions to this conversation on underestimated skills. The type of situation where, sure, anyone can do it, but to be great at it requires a lot of skill. Goat Trucking Jesus, he wants to add sexual intercourse into the mix. Yeah.
That's a good one.
A lot of folks bump. Everybody bumps. But some are better than others.
Once you find that person that's good at it, too, wow, do your eyes open.
Yeah, and then you know what you do? You assume that the grass is greener. And then you miss that person. and you'll do that about 30 times in your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you'll go, oh, wait a minute. I thought they all did that. You don't do that? No, maybe I'll call that other person. Oh, they've got a boyfriend now? Oh.
Dang it.
Yeah.
One of the things on the list, bagging groceries, I used to do that. I was a grocery transfer technician back in the day.
Sure.
And I took a lot of pride in that. And bagging the groceries perfect.
That was on the list?
Yeah.
There's an art to it for sure.
Bagging groceries.
Yeah, bagging groceries.
I suck
like
at it.
Where you, you make sure nothing gets crushed. All the bags are of equal or similar weight, that kind of thing. When I used to bag groceries, that was like a big deal.
My mom taught me how to bag groceries correctly. I never knew there was an art about it, but there is.
So you got to be very good at it, huh, John?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like playing Tetris in a way, too.
Did it make your life easier when people would kind of like group things together? I like to do that. Like I'll keep like the dairy products together on the conveyor belt, and then I'll put like the box of grains all next to each
Keep
other.
the frozen foods
Yeah,
together.
would
I'm
that
the same
make you
way.
happy?
I guess I don't remember if people did that or not.
I want to know if I'm doing something good for the baggers.
I do remember I got yelled at by a guy who I'd never seen this before. You know, the automatic trunk close?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Where you just kind of, this was a Cadillac. And I mean, this is 1991. Maybe.
Automatic trunk close.
Yeah, so he
you've
had a
got a big
Cadillac.
bag of groceries. You're bringing it out there for an old
I
person?
put it all, everything, yeah, he was an
Yeah.
old guy. And, I was used to slamming the trunk closed.
Yeah.
But it was one of those, you just kind of set it down and then the trunk takes over. Oh, my God, he read me the riot act. He was furious. I had no idea. Like, hey, dude, in the household I grew up with, we'd be lucky if we could get the trunk to close.
How the hell are you supposed to know
I didn't know this existed.
this space age technology
Poor
existed,
Josh.
right?
Yeah, now I know.
I never bagged groceries, but if ever the wife and I are at the grocery store together and it comes time to bag up our stuff, she just shoves me aside because I do everything wrong. Apparently, you're not supposed to put the ground beef in the same bag as your athlete's foot powder or something like that. She doesn't like
I love bagging groceries.
Well, so I'm glad you had fun with that. Yeah, I've never tried it. I'm terrible at it. At least I know currently I'm terrible at it.
You know what should be on this list? Painting, like painting your house.
Yeah, for sure. I was so bad, like comically bad at
I
painting
love
houses.
doing it. If you guys ever need help, hit me up.
Oh yeah, I need it.
Hate painting.
I pay to do that. It's always worse than you think it's going to be,
I refuse to do it.
and it's always and I don't know if you're like me, but if I make a mistake, I'm going to be staring at that part the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Or like I remember you get tape lines and stuff like that, and you still screw it up one way or the other.
Forget it. I did it once 30 years ago. I painted the basement of a house that I bought at the time, and I was a maniac.
Any
I had.
woodworking?
Pardon me.
Any woodworking? I mean,
This was just straight up painting a flat wall. It was nothing fancy. And I still came uncorked at least a dozen times. I hated it. It was so tedious, and I promised myself I would never do it again, and I've stuck to that promise. There's plenty of things that could make that conversation of, hey, everybody does it.
doesn't
But,
your wife like to?
She
paint?
loves painting. She and her best friend love to paint, and they don't bitch. They have the patience and the skills for it, and so I let them go wide open.
And it's
Wide
so,
open.
so satisfying when it's all done.
Oh, here's
you
a
can
good
look at it.
I agree. I've never been satisfied with my own, but I've seen other people and I thought that's pretty sweet. Fun Size She's has said, small talk. The people who are really good at it, you don't notice, but you really notice when someone isn't. That's a great one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great addition to the list. It makes me think of that scene from The Simpsons from years ago where Lisa Simpson is walking down the street with, I believe his little name is Ralph, and he's awkward as hell.
He loves Lisa.
And they're walking down the sidewalk together. Small talk is what we're referring to. And Ralph turns to Lisa. I don't know why I remember this so well. I laughed my ass off. I know very little about The Simpsons, but Ralph turns to Lisa and says, "So, do you like stuff?" That reminds me of, and Josh, don't feel bad about that automatic trunk close. You know, you're forcing this thing. It's not supposed to be slammed. It's supposed to, you hit a button and
I barely remember it from 30-some years ago.
Right.
You're over it. We can tell.
Yeah, I haven't even thought about it over and over and over.
It's going to keep you up tonight.
You always have been so good at letting things go. You have.
Yeah, I can just forget about a mistake immediately.
Right.
Or
Mistakes,
upsetting someone.
little negative things, you let it go so quickly. I've told you before that same kind of a setup to the story where I never had a new vehicle. Until I was, I don't know, early 30s. And I had a Chevy Blazer. And
that thing was sweet, by the way.
Yeah, you like that one?
Yeah.
And I had never cracked open the back window, right? The back window. There's a button. I think it was where the key enters the back tailgate. There's a button there. Well, I didn't know that. And coming from the background that I did, I imagine there must be a giant lever or something to release the back window. So I thought I saw the proper lever to allow that back window to pop open. But instead, what I did was completely break the back windshield wiper off of the vehicle.
That's an easy mistake.
That's great.
Just snapped it right off. Well, this must be how you get the back hatch open. Here you go. Here's the windshield wiper that I just snapped off the vehicle.
Oh gosh, you pulled that thing.
right in front of my ex-in-laws when they said, "Can you pop the back hatch?" Well, sure.
Yeah,
of course I can. It's my vehicle.
I feel awful.
Right in front of grown folks. We got to get going again. It's going to be a wonderful day. I think later on we're going to talk to Dinkus.
Yeah, if you mean Randy Shaver.
No, other Dinkus.
Brad Ryder?
Marcus Foligno?
The third.
Oh, Marcus Foligno.
Marcus
Yeah, you
Foligno.
call everybody Dinkus.
Yeah, we'll talk to all three of them later on this morning, starting around 7:30. We'll be back in a couple minutes on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
They got their heads up their ass.
On 93X.
Dana here to tell you all about my new friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. You see, I've been doing apartment living ever since my parents kicked me out back in the day, but now I'm back living in a house. I'm absolutely clueless when it comes to any project. That's where Standard comes into play. They cranked on my furnace to get it really cooking for another cold winter. And think about this. Standard's been doing this for over 95 years. That means at one point, they made sure your great-grandpappy was all nice and warm in his butt-flap jammies. So get in touch with the folks at standardheating.com and make sure you ask about becoming a Smart Club member. That's standardheating.com.
No one knows music like Rolling Stone. Senior writer Brian Hyatt talks the biggest music news from the biggest stars.
Raphael Sadiq. So there's a whole lot to talk about. Bodyguard, that's kind of your song. Did you originally intend it for Beyonce?
Everything is for me in the beginning.
Okay. Take us through the life story of the Notorious B.I.G.
Here's this 14-year-old kid who feels like a prodigy.
We were also supposed to have an interview with Ghostface Killah, but he kind of ghosted on us, which I guess is appropriate.
Rolling Stone Music Now. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Yeah, we've been talking. We were talking about underestimated skills. Sure, most anyone can do these specific things, but only truly talented people can do it well. And some of the examples I think we had a few minutes ago, Cubby driving. Yup, driving.
Yep, it's a good one.
Bumping gear, which is a term I use for sex. This and that. Listeners have texted in. What about lying? Everyone lies.
Oh, that's a good one.
But some people are really good at it because they do it all the time. Well,
I'm not good at it. My wife is horrible at it.
See, that's what fascinates me more than a great liar is a terrible liar. And we've come across quite a few of them in our days here in radio because radio is filled with phony people. But what's so fascinating about most liars is they think they're great at it and they're absolutely terrible and we can see right through it immediately. But there's something about, if you're a prolific liar, you're probably also very arrogant. So you think you're fooling everyone.
I have a problem where, because I know so many bad liars, and it's just insulting, right? Just tell the truth at this point. We all know you're lying. That I overthink responses thinking someone's going to assume I'm lying. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like if
definitely.
I can't do something, I know, well, don't put in too much information because that sounds like somebody that's lying. But I'd also like to explain why I can't attend whatever event.
That's how you're wired.
So then I'm paralyzed.
You want people to like you.
I get it,
So
Josh,
you give them, reason.
And I'd rather, I can't handle the stress of a lie. I'd rather just get it out there, whatever it is. I mean, I've even to the point where somebody's like, hey, do you want to go to this thing? And I'll just say, no, because I don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie about it.
Right.
Yeah, me and my friends are finally at that stage. For the past couple of years, we've been at that stage where we are totally fine texting each other and being like, yeah, I'm just not feeling it today. Sorry, I know we've been looking forward to this for a week, but I'm just not feeling it, man.
Honesty's the best route to take. Now,
I was paralyzed once so much where I ran into a guy I hadn't seen in years, and we weren't necessarily friends. But, he was an acquaintance, and he's like, hey, you know what? We should go get lunch. And I still feel bad about this to this day, but I was trying to be honest.
Right.
And I didn't know what to say, so I said, I don't see the point. That's what
I love you.
Can't picture you saying that, Josh.
I know. Well, like I said, it was kind of out of character.
Yeah.
And I didn't at the time. I thought I was being respectful,
Yeah.
And then right afterwards, I thought, that was such a dickish thing to do. And I, by no means did I mean to come across
You get nervous, in the moment.
Because I was projecting ahead to, hey, let's pick a time and then being miserable about that.
Right.
And honestly, neither one of us really wanted to. Maybe it's just one of those things you say.
It is something that you just say to somebody, hey, let's get together sometime soon, and you never really mean it. Well, not never, but sometimes you don't really mean it. Well, you were saying your wife is a terrible liar. Why do you say that?
So, and she doesn't, she's kind of in the same boat where she won't lie because she knows she's bad at it. But, like, pulling a prank on someone, she can't do it. For example... we had a guy, a friend of ours.
The threesome.
The threesome.
Yeah.
We were at an event, and I told my wife on the way back, we were going to stop at Champs. I mean, it was that long ago, but there's still Champs.
Yum.
Just some waffle fries or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Seasoned sour cream.
Please pass the seasoned sour cream. And I told her, I said, you know what? Let's mess with them and tell them we brought him to dinner to ask him for a threesome.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, I'll do my best. And we sit down, and she's already kind of laughing. And, like, I could tell she's all hyped up, doesn't know what to do. So I told her, I'm like, hey, just go to the bathroom at one point. And so she goes, and then I told them, hey, here's the deal. We invited you here because we've been married for a while, and we want to spice things up. And you could really help our marriage out if you join us for a threesome.
Fun.
Right.
But what I never considered until afterwards is what if he said yes? I would have had to have a threesome.
Got to go through with it.
That's terrifying, Josh.
Josh doesn't want to hurt the guy's feelings. He actually has a threesome.
I mean, he was a handsome enough guy. But, yeah, what do you do?
But your wife struggled with the charade.
Oh, she had to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she couldn't keep her composure at all.
She's an honest person, not able to fool somebody with a lie.
No, and she realizes it.
I remember that dude, too, that you were trying to sucker into believing you wanted a threesome with him. Wasn't his name John?
Yep.
And he worked here for
one of my favorite people. He drunk dials me every once in a while.
Still?
Maybe he wants to get some. I don't know.
He worked here for our morning show for a brief period of time. I really liked him, too.
Oh, he was great.
Good
one of
kid.
the best.
I wonder what he's doing now. Drunk dial him back and find out what the hell he's doing.
Yeah, get hammered and call him.
All right, some more underestimated skills. Knots.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I was told when I was a young kid, if you don't know how to tie a knot, just tie a lot of them.
Yeah.
And
that's how my shoes were as a kid.
Just a mess of strings knotted together.
Being a boater, tying up to cleats on the dock. Sometimes I nail it, sometimes I don't. And when I don't, I just tie a lot of them.
Yep. I really don't know what I'm doing every single time. I don't know if there's a specific type of knot I'm supposed to be tying for the boat, but
there is.
My dad makes me do it, and I'm like, all right, let's get it done, and it doesn't go anywhere.
Sometimes it's just almost unconscious, where I know what I'm trying to do, but I'm just not very skilled with my hands. But sometimes just weepity-weep, and it's done. And then there are other times I pull up to the dock where I say, how do I do this again? And whatever, it is what it is. Drawing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's Ashley.
Is horrible. Something that everyone does. Everyone draws. I guess maybe some of us only when we're little kids in art class in elementary school. But everyone has drawn. Some are wildly skilled at it.
This is something that I never really thought of as a skill until people have had me, draw something quick or like draw a circle, and they're like, how do you do that so perfectly? And I can't wrap my head around the fact that some people can't. Like, what do you mean?
Not even close.
Just move your hand correctly.
Well, I can't draw anything.
Did you practice or take a class or anything?
No, I just have liked it since I was a kid. So I guess practicing by myself, yeah.
That's impressive.
The only thing I can draw is Fred Burton.
Used to draw Fred Burton quite a bit.
Here, I'll draw him real quick for you, Ashley. This is a character that me and my pals developed in elementary school.
Oh, okay.
You know, when you're a third grade kid, you just sit there with your pals and draw dirty pictures?
Yep.
Now, Fred Burton isn't dirty, but this is just how he looks.
We used to draw fighter jets.
That's cool.
That's cool.
And so then all the way through, high school even, we would still draw Fred Burton and just put him wherever.
While you're doing that, oh, geez, Jesus says, how about posing for pictures? I know it sounds funny, but I agree with that.
Yeah, no, I do too.
Like people who, you see something like a model or something. I don't know if you've ever watched a model take pictures, just the way they're able to, do exactly what is needed in that moment. It is a skill. I was kind of surprised the first time I saw a professional photo shoot.
They always know what to do with their hands.
Yeah.
And this will not surprise you, Josh. Yes, I have seen pictures of models before.
I mean, I said being there while the pictures are being taken.
Yeah, I suppose that's a skill set.
Nick, this drawing of Fred Burton, is that what it? Beautiful.
Yeah. And then, it even played into high school, like when we'd do something terrible in the hallway, and the teachers would say, who did that? We'd say, oh, it's Fred Burton. And then they'd spend the whole day looking through the roster, you know what I mean? Trying to find, he doesn't go to school here. It's a sad story.
This is perfect because it looks like the way every dude draws.
Is he smoking?
No, he's not. He looks like he's gritting his teeth a little.
Yeah. It's because he's getting a colonoscopy.
Did he quit smoking?
Stressed.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, sometimes he'd have a cigarette in his mouth. Sometimes not. One more text message here before we dive into the stupid news, and this is just a very special message that came in this morning. It says, "Good morning, half-assed morning show. I'm a daily podcaster who's listening live this morning. As wonderful as every show is, yesterday's show got me emotional, and yesterday was an emotional program. There were deep conversations on our show yesterday. If you were listening, you know what we're talking about. It says here, first off, happy to hear that you're doing better, Nick, after what happened last Thursday. Yeah, that was a hell of a thing. What happened to me last Thursday, I had to go to the hospital. This listener says, God bless our first responders, and I couldn't agree more. Then he goes on to say, secondly, congratulations, Ashley. The pregnancy announcement brought a tear to my eye. Randy's advice, Randy gave you some advice yesterday, and the joy in Ashley's voice got me reliving the birth of my boy who just turned 1 last week. He's me and my wife's first. Our lives have never been better. Watching him grow and being a dad is the greatest thing I've done, and I'm excited for you to get the experience too. Listening to this show is always fun. Thanks for everything you all do.
You gotta be careful, man. I'm very hormonal. That's gonna make me cry.
Don't
That's
cry.
Such a sweet thing to say.
I was waiting for a butt, all those nice things in a butt.
I was
Fred
too.
Burton. That's very nice of you. Thank you, sir. I didn't get a name. Thank you for writing in with all those wonderful things.
Also want to thank Traveling IT Jesus again. He was on that plane crash in Toronto. We had an opportunity to talk to him yesterday. Great guy, funny guy, really good attitude. He texted in and mentioned he was on good ABC News and a couple different places. Dana, you were saying you kind of facilitated that in some way?
Yeah, our friend Janelle Klein hit me up this afternoon, and she wasn't on the show with us yesterday because she was in Toronto covering that story. And she said they were trying to track down somebody to talk to, And she didn't realize we had talked to somebody, but a producer of hers said, well, the Today Show had somebody on, and some Minneapolis radio show had a guy on, too. And then she made the connection that we had the guy on, so I helped put them in touch together yesterday.
That's awesome.
And he's going to be on Good Morning America, or was on Good Morning America, one of the two?
Our guy, Traveling IT Jesus, is touring television and radio all over the United States, telling his story of that plane crash survival.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Per usual, someone that comes on the show far surpasses any level of success any of us will ever achieve, one way or another.
Would you consider it success if you were on Good Morning America?
Not for that reason, maybe. But he's got enough personality, they wanted him on.
That's very nice. All right. Moving on to the stupid news report for Wednesday morning. Enough with the effing hard street drugs already. For cripe's sake. What's wrong with some of you? Whatever happened to beer and whiskey? You folks with the hard street drugs. I'm tired of the drugs. I've never understood it. I never will. The things people will do for drugs. We could have that conversation for effing days if we wanted to. Listen to what these two dildos came up with. Straight out of a damned cartoon, these two fellers here. Kids, really, 18 and 19 years old, down there in Louisiana. Stupid ass 1 and stupid ass 2 were caught attempting to smuggle contraband into a prison. But smuggle is not the right word. That almost makes their caper sound somewhat sophisticated, and it was anything but that. The stupid asses were caught straight up launching drugs and other contraband over the prison wall using a damned cannon.
That sounds a lot more fun. Way more fun than butts or whatever drugs are usually smuggled in.
Like Yosemite Sam and Bugs Effin' Bunny might have tried in a Looney Tunes program. They're firing drugs and other illegal contraband over the wall onto the prison yard.
Respect.
They planned to spray $112,000 worth of tobacco. Now we're talking. That's more my speed.
What is that now, like 10 cartons, Swapple?
Yeah, that'd be 10 cartons of cigarettes or 6 rolls of Copenhagen. I think would be $112,000.
Yep.
They planned on firing a lot of tobacco over the wall. And again, I'll get behind that. But also about $90,000 worth of meth rocks. That was their plan, to spray that all over the security fence. All over the top of, I should say, the security fence and onto the prison grounds. But they weren't quite sly enough to get away with this absolute nonsense. In case you're curious, and I certainly was, and I was disappointed to learn they weren't firing some old Ulysses S. Grant model effing Civil War. It wasn't an old Civil War type of it. It used compressed air. So word is, they were firing off something closer to a T-shirt cannon like you see during timeouts at basketball games.
They're just running around with paintball guns, blasting it over the walls.
Both of these buttholes were arrested.
We did something much less sophisticated. No cannons or air pressure involved at St. Cloud State. In the dorm we were in freshman year, past 8 o'clock, they had a table there at the front, and they could check your backpack when you're walking in. So to see, try to look for booze, drugs, that kind of thing. We had a case of beer, and we wanted to get it inside the dorm, so we had our friend go up to the second level, and then we're just throwing beers one at a time up to him.
Alley-oop.
Yep, and of course, we had been drinking, and we were 18 and dumb, so some of them are just, hitting other windows or, too high and exploding off the brick wall of this crappy dorm. It was such a disaster.
Not exactly a worked out assembly line type of
Not at all.
Okay, real quick, we just got done talking about our listener, pal, Traveling IT Jesus. He was on the plane crash in Toronto. He was in the plane crash in Toronto, I should say. Came on the program yesterday to talk about it, and now Dana and Josh have learned that he's doing a radio and television tour, even speaking to our own Janelle Klein about this disaster / adventure / wonderful tale of survival. I don't exactly know how we do this, how we take it from here, Josh, with the sudden fame of traveling IT Jesus, but more anxiety than hair Jesus texted in to say, let's make traveling IT Jesus the new Hawk Tua girl. How do we... but I don't want him to be that. I don't like her. I never liked her. It's a stupid bit.
That's why I like it so much. Boy, I don't know. Yeah, what could he say? Like, he was getting off fast, he split on that thing? Or he has to have a catchphrase.
Yeah.
But you probably don't want to joke about something like that.
I suppose not.
Being hot, young, and blonde would help quite a bit, too.
He did say he was too pretty to die in a plane crash. So we know he's attractive. Maybe he has to come up with some sort of his own digital coin. That worked out pretty well for her.
That worked out real well.
Maybe he could publicize that on Good Morning America.
This year, this next route we're going to take is confusing. Well, at least it was for me at first. I'm not built for a conversation like this here, but I'm going to go ahead anyway. We're dealing with a place called the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, speaking of air travel. Now, the word is folks who passed on through the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport say that they saw notices posted in the Johns in the airport bathrooms. They saw paper posted up in the airport bathrooms on the walls informing them that their genitalia, quote, may be photographed electronically in order to screen for improper restroom access.
I'd be worried what it would determine for me.
Yeah.
Well, there's no way that's a penis. No way.
In order to screen for improper restroom access, your genitalia may be photographed electronically, is the announcement they saw on the walls of the bathrooms at the airport in Dallas. Now, the airport has stepped up to say they have zero effing clue who posted those announcements on the bathroom.
That makes it funnier.
And they have no idea where these announcements came from, and they are not going to be photographing anyone's filthy genitals at their airport. The airport is investigating, and they're, right now as we speak, Cubby, they're doing a few laps around the joint to make sure such nonsense has been removed from all their walls.
That is pretty funny, though. I mean, I would wonder, like, well, I got to go bad enough. I guess I'm going to have them take a picture of my private.
Right. To establish, that's not the word, to ensure that the right gender is using the right bathroom. I think this is the gimmick that they were.
Oh, my gosh.
If you want to know, the exact notice that was hanging in the bathroom said this: security notice. Electronic genital verification, EGV. Your genitalia may be photographed electronically during your use of this facility as part of the Electronic Genital Verification Pilot Program. This comes at the direction of the Office of the Lieutenant Governor. No, it doesn't. In the future, EGV, Electronic Genital Verification, will help Texans remain safe by screening for potentially improper restroom access using machine vision and artificial intelligence in lieu of traditional genital inspections. In lieu of traditional genital inspections, whatever those are.
Yeah.
Have you ever had, Josh, a traditional genital inspection?
Several.
But this was at the doctor's office.
This was, at a doctor's
Not
office.
at an airport.
No.
For clearance to go this place.
No place outside of a professional facility.
The 8th graders and social media dorks on Reddit found out about this, and Cubby, they called it A+ trolling, which is so. Now that's what I'm going to call it too, so I can sound hip.
That ruins it.
I mean, it looks official.
This sign looks very official.
So, I mean, there's a I probably at first would kind of believe it.
I would too.
I'd be with you, though, Josh. I would have to pee so bad, I'm guessing. I wouldn't care. I'd gamble with it.
If someone wants to look at my penis while I urinate, they're welcome to do it. I don't care who you are, whether you're the lieutenant governor or a random citizen. I'm not going to hold my urine for that.
No.
Question.
Yes.
Do you mind if I share our urination story after the show yesterday? I wonder if you even remember this.
Oh, cute. Did you guys go to the bathroom together?
We always go to the bathroom together. What are you, new?
Come on.
We always go potty together.
Sorry, sir.
Always, every day.
Yes, I think I remember what you're talking about.
I mean, and listen, we're not complaining. It could be worse, but this building is very cold.
Oh, God.
Yes. Compared to an average place that's indoors and has a heating system,
right,
it's colder than most.
Right.
So, yeah, we're not complaining for people that work outdoors.
If you, we understand.
So, we're in the bathroom, and you're like, man, it's so cold in here. My penis almost looks average.
It was cold.
I mean, it shrunk down to just above average.
It almost looked average. All right. So anyway, rest easy. If you're traveling through that Dallas airport anytime soon, there won't actually be an electronic image of your clitoris in the back pocket of security personnel or anything like that. They're not photographing anyone.
It looks like the phone number goes to the lieutenant governor of Texas, too.
So they put the real phone number on?
Yeah.
Look at the research.
So he's just getting spammed left and right.
I'm guessing that this is some, I mean, I have no idea. I'm just guessing that there must be some group of people who are really up in arms over a guy using a lady's room and a lady using a guy's room, so they want to make this statement. And
well, there certainly are people that are, but I wonder if this is somebody just being funny. I took it as they were just being funny versus, or maybe they were trying to make a statement. I don't know.
Who friggin' knows?
Let's go the funny route. That makes me more happy.
Now, a video that every damn buddy's been talking about the last couple of days or so, and it's my fault we didn't get to this yesterday. But here we are. The damn kayaker that got swallowed whole and then spit smooth back up by a damn humpback whale a few days ago on a body of water called, I think, the Straits of Magellan.
You're welcome.
Is this video up on our website? Because it must be on every website on planet Earth at this
yeah,
point.
yeah.
Yeah, it is, but I'll have to move it to the top, so it makes it easier to find.
And this lucky bastard lived to tell the story. Again, kayaker whipping around the waters of Magellan, or whatever the hell I just said. I believe his dad was kayaking with him. A humpback whale comes out of nowheres, throws the kayaker into his yap, and then whook, spits the some bitch back out, and he just continues paddling. He spit him right back out, upside, right side up. How do I say that, Josh? He just keeps going.
It was 1 second where I thought that I was eaten by some kind of giant fish, but I didn't know it was a whale. Suddenly I felt like a wave struck me from behind, and I turned around, some blue dark colors and white flashing right through my face, and I felt a slimy texture in my cheek. And then it shot down on me, took me underwater. I closed my eyes because I thought that something would crash into my face.
You're welcome.
That was the guy, huh?
He's pretty calm.
Whale came out of nowhere, gulped him down like a damn snack. His dad recorded the whole thing. He only had a brief stay in the whale's yap, although the way he tells the story, it sounds like he was in there forever, but it must have been horrifying. And then it spit him back out, and there he was floating on his little kayak. He thought he was dead. He thought he was being attacked by an orca.
Oh, yeah, those are vicious.
And you heard him, I had a hard time making out exactly what he was talking about. He felt some sliminess on his face, this and that. When he realized it was a humpback whale, he later came to the conclusion that it was probably just curious or possibly trying to communicate. After he got barfed up, he said he and his effing old man got the F out of there as quick as possible, and they went and got some hose.
Yeah.
Smart.
They earned it.
Yeah.
Truly,
the hose.
Truly incredible to watch that video. Go ahead over to our website if you haven't seen it already, because that is whoo-wee.
And another good reason to stay inside.
I'm with you.
It's just such a crazy video. I could watch it over and over and over again.
Yeah. He disappears, doesn't he? And then he reappears after the whale goes, whoo.
The whale didn't like the way he tasted at all.
No.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the people who just can't help but mess with wild animals, on their own. Folks who just, they think they're the animal whisperer or whatever, and they get too close intentionally, as opposed to this kayaker. He didn't even know what the F hit him. The Turks and Caicos Islands is where we're at here. I think that's the effing place that our pal C. Willie Miles took his wife a couple months ago.
That's right, yep.
I'm not sure where the hell that is. It's all tropical and whatnot. I can tell you that. So back to folks who love to show us how supposedly smooth they are with wild animals. They keep getting themselves mangled beyond repair because they're effing silly. A 55-year-old Canadian gal hanging out on the beach there at the Turks and Caicos Islands had both of her hands bitten off by a shark. Because she's trying to get a picture of the stupid thing.
Sucks to be you.
How stupid.
She was wandering around the shallow waters at the beach. Now, for most of us, that's when we get our big fat carcasses out of the damn water. When we see that shark. The shark is in the shallow waters. So is this lady. Most of us would get out of there and let that shark do shark things for a while. And then we'll waddle back into the drink after the prick has swum clear of us. But not this gal. She had to get a picture. Shark didn't want that picture. And it pulled both of her hands off of her. Her husband rushed on into the water, managed to scare the shark away, but the damage had been done. Sadly, what was left of her hands had to be amputated.
Oh, that's so crazy. And then for the rest of your life, when people ask you what happened, you have to admit that you did it to yourself.
You have to admit.
The shark did it, technically.
The whole disaster isn't a word. The whole disaster could have been avoided. I can't imagine, after 55 years, suddenly having to live my life without my damn hands. And let's skip the beat-off jokes for now. 55 years you've been living with hands, and now suddenly they're gone. There are pictures out there, Summers. No thanks on that.
I think it'd be kind of cool to get hooks. I mean, make something out of it. Instead of a prosthetic hand, just got hooks.
Couple of hooks. Now, the story goes ahead with statistics on how rare shark attacks are, which have never reassured me of anything. I don't know about the rest of you, but same as when people, whenever I talk about how much I hate plane rides. Well, statistically, don't care. I don't care to hear your statistics as to how rare plane crashes or shark attacks are. It has no effect on me. I'm always going to fear them. But folks who say they know how sharks operate, they say the Canadian gal's cellular telephone may have played a part in the attack. It says here that sharks can confuse your cool-looking cell phone as bait. But they always say rule number one is just stay the hell away from them. But, some of us think differently.
I think your worst nightmare, Nick, would be, plane crash.
Sure.
Obviously.
We land in the water, don't we?
And then hey, everybody, can't believe we all survived this plane crash. Bad news. We are in shark-infested waters, and they look starving.
That would be my ultimate nightmare. And all I have is my bare hands to try to knock myself unconscious before death.
Yeah.
Because that's what I would be trying to do.
You try and reverse those oxygen masks where it just takes the oxygen out of you so you suffocate.
Whatever it takes. I do not want to wait for that bite. That would be my ultimate nightmare. But then, again, as you guys know, despite my fears of these things, I have to admit that I am drawn to stories. I watch air disasters on television.
Makes sense.
If there's a documentary about some dude that's floating in the ocean for a week trying to fight off sharks, I watch the whole program. I'll watch it twice. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm drawn to that scene from Jaws where Quint explains the USS Indianapolis. It's I could be kinder to myself. I could avoid these subjects, but I don't. I gravitate towards them, and then the fear only builds. I'm out of my mind.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Minnesota's got a chance to win. They're going to take this all the way down, or they should.
Patterson goes right at the rack, and the Golden Gophers lead. Andrews, good if it goes, and it's off the mark. And Minnesota sweeps Los Angeles.
Pretty impressive, Josh.
Yeah, this team, huh? I mean, maybe they just needed the inspiration of Randy sounding so defeated when they were having some trouble there for a little bit.
A couple months ago, Randy Shaver was just a straight-up dick about Golden Gopher basketball.
Oh, he acted kind of like they offended him personally.
Yeah.
He wanted the program canceled altogether.
I mean, they're tough. They're hanging in there, and it sucks that last night's game was so late because I only got to see, 25 minutes of it or whatever before I fell unconscious, but pretty impressive that the Golden Gopher Dudes Basketball Club would go ahead and sweep their tour of Southern California. They played a late game last night on the campus of UCLA and won the ball game by 3 points. Beat USC a couple nights ago. So things are looking pretty good right now. Dawson Garcia scored 27 of his 32 points after halftime. That's a pretty strong, stinking second half. 32 points, that matches his age now. What? He's a little bit of an older guy. You know how they do it in college sports now.
Yeah.
You can stick around a little. But I love watching this club. They got a game coming up this weekend at the Barn against Penn State. Randy Shaver, Brad Ryder, and around 8 a.m., Marcus Foligno with the Man Bear Pig is going to check in with us. For now, stick around. Josh's News is coming up next.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
They got their heads up their ass.
On 93X.
Dana here to tell you all about my new friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. You see, I've been doing apartment living ever since my parents kicked me out back in the day, but now I'm back living in a house. I'm absolutely clueless when it comes to any project. That's where Standard comes into play. They cranked on my furnace to get it really cooking for another cold winter. And think about this. Standard's been doing this for over 95 years. That means at one point, they made sure your great-grandpappy was all nice and warm in his butt-flap jammies. So get in touch with the folks at standardheating.com and make sure you ask about becoming a Smart Club member. That's standardheating.com.
YouTube personality Benny Johnson has cracked the code on a new era of newsmaking.
It's got to be music to your ears. It's like the angels singing.
Listen, learn, and laugh.
I had a feeling you'd be in a very good mood. Oh, this is going to be a glorious day on Capitol Hill for you, sir.
It's a new cultural landscape.
So it's an important moment right now. Does this deserve another look?
The Benny Show.
Seize it in all of its glory.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
This is a family's worst nightmare. To be asleep in their home, not knowing that a stranger broke into their home and attempted to take their lives by setting their home on fire.
A Michigan man with some anger issues drove hundreds of miles in a jealous rage, determined to burn down the home of a man he saw as a romantic rival, despite the fact that his ex-girlfriend had never met the guy in person.
A romantic rival.
And again, it's his ex-girlfriend. Harrison Jones, a 21-year-old with way too much free time, a full tank of gas, and a wildly misplaced sense of revenge, embarked on a nearly 740-mile round trip from Michigan to Pennsylvania with, quote, murderous intentions, said police.
Wow.
Fueled by jealousy, he targeted the family home of a man his ex-girlfriend had been talking to online and was planning to meet for the first time. Instead of letting that happen, he made the trip to set the man's home on fire before driving 11 hours back to Michigan as if nothing happened.
30 seconds later, smoke is seen coming from the rear of the property and an explosion of fire. He drove over 730 miles, 11 hours, to do what he did, and then drove directly back home.
But technology caught up with him. Traffic cameras and automatic license plate readers tracked his Volkswagen along the route. Then Jones's own father helped seal his son's fate when he told police he'd actually installed a phone tracking app on his son's device, which revealed Jones was in Pennsylvania during the time of the fire, which he claimed he was not. When police confronted him, they noticed a fresh wound on his arm, which looked suspiciously like a burn. They also found several items of incriminating evidence.
On February 12th, the Kent County Sheriff's Department, based on this information, executed a search warrant of that residence. During that search warrant, they recovered lidocaine burn cream, gauze wrappings, a locking pick, and also recovered the Volkswagen Passat that was used that evening.
Officials said the family was able to escape thanks to the mom. She heard suspicious noises, discovered the fire in time, and evacuated her family.
Man, to think he had that much time on his hands thinking, should I go through with this? And he still went through with it.
Yeah, his lawyer's going to have a hard time arguing that wasn't intentional.
yeah, that's a little premeditated. You're right.
And this was his ex-girlfriend.
Yep.
He's still dialed in, obviously, full on dialed into what she's up to. How did he know that she was speaking to this guy online?
I don't know. She'd been talking to him for over a year, so he figured it out in that time, obviously. But yes, she hadn't even met him. She was about to, but hadn't met him yet.
I'll be damned.
2 cops were getting busy with more than just casework at a Manhattan station house. According to a federal complaint, they got it on. I mean, sex. Special Operations Lieutenant Michael DeSanto engaged in an inappropriate sexual relationship with Sergeant Christina Ortiz inside precinct offices, according to a complaint. They'd lock up in her office anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, and he'd come out adjusting himself, a witness said. Fellow officers said despite both Ortiz and DeSanto being married to other people, the 2 cops were solving a whole different kind of undercover operation at their precinct, if you catch my drift. I mean, sex. They were having sex. A Nebraska woman who didn't like it when she found out a man was dating her friend let him know by holding the man captive in her apartment and then stabbing him in the forehead with a soldering iron, of all things. 49-year-old Lisa Beverly was arrested Friday after Lincoln police responded to multiple 911 calls about a man frantically screaming for help. According to court documents, dispatchers got a call about 7 a.m. reporting a fight inside an apartment. The caller described a male voice shouting, "Help me," while banging on the walls. When officers arrived, they could hear the man's desperate cries. "Help, let me out," he said. He even urged them to break down the door. Police didn't have to, though, as Beverly eventually unlocked it herself. Once inside, they found a bedroom in shambles and a 60-year-old bleeding from multiple head wounds. He told officers Beverly accused him of dating her friend and attacked him, stabbing him in the forehead with a soldering iron and then hitting him with a coffee pot and a laptop. Paramedics rushed the injured man to the hospital while police took Beverly to jail.
So she pretty much just held him captive there.
Yeah, for a little bit there.
Was he dating her friend?
He never said one way or the other.
Yeah, I probably would keep that a secret at this point. In case anyone else wanted to take a swing at me.
But if he is, I bet she's going to give him a lot of sympathy after going through something like that for her.
It's true.
Is that another sexual reference you're making there?
Yeah, I'm talking about sex.
Word?
A Florida woman didn't take it well when her F-buddy canceled plans on her. That really upset her. And she proved this by breaking into the man's home and attacking him with a garden hoe. 47-year-old Melanie Davis was arrested after the bizarre assault, which police say stemmed from her outrage over a last-minute change of plans. The victim made it clear to detectives they weren't in a dating relationship, though he admitted/bragged they had, quote, mutual sex in the past. Yes, we've had some mutual sex. The victim said Davis showed up at his house uninvited, demanded money for a crossbow she'd recently bought him, sweet. When he refused to let her in, she climbed over his gate and forced her way inside. A heated confrontation quickly escalated, the victim repeatedly telling her to leave, but instead the situation turned physical. When questioned by detectives, Davis admitted to scaling the fence and getting into an altercation. However, she downplayed the attack until the affidavit confirmed she struck him with the blade of a garden hoe. The woman claimed she was angry that they had plans that evening, and when he backed out, she decided to confront him. Unfortunately for him, that confrontation involved that hoe hitting him with a gardening tool and a trip to the hospital. Police say it wasn't even their first run-in. Just days earlier, Davis accused the victim of stealing her keys and then struck him in the back of the head with a lock during an argument.
Let me tell you something. This guy knows how to pick an F-buddy.
Yeah, she's wild, that's for sure.
He knows how to pick them.
More crossbow news. As authorities in northern New Jersey are on the hunt for a crossbow-wielding assailant after a 38-year-old woman took an arrow to the bolt, that is, to a face Monday afternoon, in what police are calling an attempted homicide. The medieval-style mayhem unfolded just before 6 p.m. at the woman's workplace, where a frantic 911 call brought officers to the scene straight out of Game of Thrones. But instead of getting shot by Peter Dinklage while on the potty, the real-life crossbow attack left the victim, in this case, seriously wounded with the crossbow bolt lodged in her face.
That sounds awful.
Dude, after, the initial pain and shock, I feel like, is this an arrow? What?
So she's, this is Monday. She went back to work Tuesday. She owns the place. She survived. Boltface was rushed to a nearby hospital in stable condition. Because Ashley, she's built different, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Adding a layer of intrigue, the violent attack that took place at the same business where a high-profile bird theft made headlines just last month.
That woman was shot at the same store where an African gray parrot worth an estimated $7,000 was stolen late last month. That bird was later found and returned, and it's not clear if these two incidents are in any way related.
Now, it turns out they aren't related. She was well aware who this guy was. He was kind of a weirdo, she said, who would come into her store quite often.
Kind of a weirdo.
Yeah, I'm paraphrasing. I don't mean sex in that case. I'm paraphrasing. As authorities piece together what led to the incident, the investigation remains active.
She's just doing her thing over there at the shop, and next thing you know, she's got a bolt in her face.
Yeah.
That sounds awful.
And a stolen bird. What's happening?
$7,000 for the bird.
What's happening there?
A 39-year-old New Jersey woman accused of robbing a bank and making off with $60,000 used a water gun painted to look like a real pistol. Sierra Brascom brought the squirt gun to TD Bank in Princeton, clad in a COVID mask, red glasses, and a blue hat. She hid the toy gun in her pocket and then whipped it out as she reached the teller station shortly before 2 p.m. The wet bandit passed a note reading, "Give me the money," and threatened to use the gun if the bank's alarm was activated. A second teller escorted her to the vault where she grabbed the cash and ran. She admitted to authorities certain financial difficulties fueled her to rob that bank.
I see.
She said the reason she used the water gun is she couldn't afford to buy a real one.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
She didn't waste her money.
Times are tough right now.
They are. A 41-year-old man who threatened people with a gun and threw a small explosive device at a Jimmy John's in Florida was placed under arrest, freaky fast. Deputies arrested 41-year-old Gregory Simmons Saturday after he drove to Emerald Coast Harley-Davidson about 2 p.m. He pointed a gun at members of a motorcycle club, which the television series Sons of Anarchy has taught me is ill-advised. As Simmons fled with bravery, he threw something out of his vehicle, which exploded outside a nearby Jimmy John's. Deputies quickly pulled Simmons over and served up a large menu of felony charges, including criminal mischief.
Simmons is being charged with throwing of an explosive device, display of a firearm, criminal mischief, and improper exhibit of a firearm. We will have more details as the investigation continues.
Police say the Jimmy John's explosion shattered several windows, which led to broken glass cutting one of the employees.
Man, Jimmy John's doesn't deserve to take any strays. It's not fair.
A 42-year-old man was arrested Thursday night after deputies said he exposed himself and engaged in inappropriate behavior inside a Dollar Tree last week. Deputies said a woman shopping in the store about 5:30 p.m. Tuesday noticed a man following her while behaving inappropriately. Feeling uneasy, she pulled out her phone and started recording. Moments later, he exposed himself and began masturbating while maintaining eye contact with her.
Oh, no.
Sexy in the right circumstances, but in public with an unwilling participant, that's never one of them. Thinking quickly, the woman let him know she was recording, which was enough to make him put his penis back in and hightail it out of the store. The woman later turned over the yucky footage to police, leading to his arrest. A Florida man was so spectacularly drunk that he had no memory of crashing his car into a concrete pole outside a 7-Eleven, and also had no memory of the location of his pants because he wasn't wearing any. The 24-year-old had left a party to pick up more booze, but woke up behind bars instead. In fact, he was sleeping so soundly, officers had to inform him that he'd wrecked his blue Ford sedan right in front of the store. When police arrived at the scene, they found him sitting in the driver's seat without pants. It appears he wet them because his waterlogged Levi's were tossed onto the passenger seat. Oh. They also found plenty of empty beer cans in the vehicle. As he stumbled out of the car, it was clear he could barely stand. He'd admitted he'd been drinking, but didn't bother guessing how much. His last memory was heading to the 7-Eleven for more alcohol, but the crash and missing pants were a total mystery to him. When officers asked for his license, they learned he's never had a license, which made his charges worse.
Oh, jeez.
Some people celebrate their birthdays with cake and friends. Others, like 33-year-old Francisco Gonzalez of San Antonio, prefer to get blackout drunk and pee on cars.
Hell yeah.
Gonzalez spent his big day partying in downtown St. Petersburg, Florida. But by the time the clock struck 1 a.m., the goon Gonzalez was kicked out of multiple bars and found himself face-to-face with police. Instead of calling it a night, he argued with officers, refusing to leave, and requested permission to pee on a squad car. The cops declined to grant him that permission, but he wasn't deterred. Given a final warning to move along, he instead made a beeline for a random parked car and promptly urinated all over it before continuing his public peeing performance on the sidewalk as bar patrons looked on. His birthday bash ended behind bars with a charge of disorderly intoxication.
Liquor does terrible things to some people.
Yeah, it's no way to celebrate your birthday.
No.
It was on this day 43 years ago in pee-related history, 1982. Singer Ozzy Osbourne was arrested for taking a potty break on a statue at the Alamo.
Oh. Yeah, one of the most infamous stories in rock history right there.
A 16-year-old girl took authorities on a high-speed chase through southern Minnesota Saturday, at times pushing past 100 miles per hour because she didn't want to get in trouble with Mom. The pursuit started on Highway 14 in Janesville, where Waseca County deputies first spotted the vehicle. But as the chase barreled toward Mankato, they handed things off to Blue Earth County deputies. Just east of Eagle Lake, they clocked her flying westbound at over 100 miles an hour. They threw everything at her. Tire deflation devices, tactical maneuvers, but she dodged them all.
Dang.
That's until she lost control and slammed into a sign and some trees. Still not ready to give up, she jumped out and tried to run, but the cops had more endurance, and they were better at chasing than she was at running.
All this because of Mom?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know if I'm buying that. Are you buying that?
Well, I believe, here, sort of. When they finally caught up, she admitted she was scared of getting in trouble with her mom. Her mom had threatened to report the car stolen after an argument, and instead of facing the fallout, she hit the gas. Fortunately, no one was hurt. The teen, however, didn't outrun the consequences as she was taken into custody.
Man, she was afraid of her mom before.
Yeah, I know. She thought, well, I can't get caught. I got to go. Mom's going to kill me.
Southern Minnesota, Cubby.
Now she's in some big trouble. Millie Bobby Brown, 11 on Stranger Things, turns 21 today.
Oh, wow.
Benicio del Toro, 58. He plays either the character Dumb or maybe Dumber. Jeff Daniels, 70 today. Black Sabbath guitarist Tony Iommi, 77. And happy 25th to a podcast listener who's going to hear this later today, and that's 93X News.
Randy Shaver.
24/7, he's nude in his unit, but for 10 to 15 minutes a day, he will go near the windows and he will expose himself and touch himself.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, hey, from the ceiling of State Farm Center.
Obviously, we had a regrettable situation at halftime with the jersey around Terrence's celebration. It's a shame that it happened that way. In life, mistakes happen, but there are also certain moments where mistakes can't happen.
All right, here we go. Good morning to Florida retiree Randy Shaver.
Good morning.
And functioning member of society, Brad Ryder.
Good morning. For now, anyway.
Oh, what do you mean, for now?
How much longer are you going to keep working, Brad Ryder?
Yeah, really.
Oh, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe. I mean, I'm going to keep working even after I'm done working, if that makes sense.
What do you mean?
But, well, I've got things lined up I'm going to do after I'm done with this. But I'll keep doing this probably another 4 or 5 years, and then I'll move on to piecing some other things together.
I hope so, Brad Ryder. I hope you keep working until the day that you die. Until the day that you... Someone needs to educate the young people, well, Brad Ryder. Yes. I'm glad you're one of them.
I mean, I'm going to... A couple weeks from now, I'm going to be starting my second season on the... high school softball coaching staff at Egan.
Nobody cares about high school softball.
That's exciting.
I want to make something perfectly clear to you, Brad.
And then I'm also this summer, I haven't really talked about this, but this summer I'm going to be going out to help out a former coworker of mine who used to work with at the Timberwolves, who's now the tournament director at the 3M Open, the golf tournament. Cool. I'm going to be going out there for about 3 weeks this summer and helping him out.
fun.
Oh, that tournament's so much fun.
I've got things, I'm preparing for life after full-time work.
Man, am I glad I asked.
Your two favorite things, softball and golf tournaments.
Right. You're going to be busy.
Yeah.
No, Brad, I think that's just great. It's good to keep you older people busy.
That's right.
Keeps us out of trouble.
Yeah, it keeps you out of... Did you see this silliness over the weekend? Josh had the audio there. Over the weekend, Timberwolves rookie Terrence Shannon Jr. He goes back to his college, the University of Illinois, to have his jersey hung in the rafters with the all-timers in Illini history. What a wonderful honor. And they effed it all up. The University of Illinois did. And you heard the voice there of their athletic director. He's very effing apologetic over this. So it doesn't sound like you guys saw this. Big dramatic reveal. Yep. You know how the gimmick works.
Yep.
He's out on the court. I think he's standing there with his parents or something. Full crowd of people, halftime of a home game. And they hand Terrence the rope. You pull the rope and you unveil your retired jersey. And they say, okay, Terrence, let her ride. And the crowd's going, oh, hell yeah, Terrence Shannon Jr., one of the greatest of all time. And he pulls the rope, and the jersey was upside down.
That's ridiculous.
That's pretty funny.
Someone behind the scenes effed it all up. He made Shannon look like a damn fool out there in front of a live crowd. He pulls the jersey, the number 0 jersey he used to wear. It's upside down.
Oh, this is one guy's job.
Well, at least the 0 is the same upside down.
Yes.
Right.
And like I said, Illinois, the University of Illinois is very embarrassed over this. Shannon did a good job to keep a smile on his face. And now he's looking to make money off of it.
I think they turned it into a charity event, didn't they?
Charity thing.
Yeah.
Which is a great idea on his part. Now he's selling an upside-down Terrence Shannon Jr. T-shirt, and all the proceeds will go to the Boys and Girls Club out there in Champaign, Illinois.
That's a great deal.
That was embarrassing for the university. That should have been, a really special moment for him. But, things happen. And I can't imagine the dude who was in charge of rolling that banner up so it fell properly. I bet he felt like the world's biggest ass clown in that moment.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm sure he got chewed out as well, which I'm sure didn't help.
I'll be.
Yeah, that athletic director, you could tell there was some rage behind that apology.
He was pissed.
Pretty embarrassed and very angry.
He was pissed. Hey, coming up here in about 25 minutes, we'll be talking to Marcus Foligno from the Minnesota Wild. Up until then, where are we going to go with this next, boys? We were talking. Oh, by the way, Terrence Shannon Jr. getting some minutes now with the Wolves, and
played good.
And he's doing just fine. I'd like to see a little more. Obviously, a great athlete. You think that Anthony Edwards can dunk? You think Anthony Edwards can get up and fire down the hammer? And we've seen it over and over again. He's killed a few guys in his career so far. A1 from day one has. What was the guy's name from Utah last year? John Collins?
Yeah.
From the rafters was the call by Michael Grady. Terrence Shannon Jr., have you seen him get up for a slam dunk?
I can't say that I have.
He's going to hurt somebody. That kid has some power. So I'm looking forward to seeing more out of him. We were talking earlier, impressive win for the Golden Gopher Men's Basketball Club at the University of California, Los Angeles.
Yeah, considering the fact that they played a poor first half and it looked like they were in big trouble at halftime. If Dawson Garcia doesn't get an opportunity to play in the NBA, that's going to be super disappointing.
Really?
Because this guy has really shown that he can play at any level. The guy is fantastic.
Well,
I think he will. I mean, if I'm not to take anything away from Amir Coffey because he was a great player too, but I think at this stage of where he's at, he's a better player than Amir Coffey is, and Amir's got a spot, an NBA spot, an NBA roster. So I don't see any reason why Dawson Garcia won't.
Now, I'm not anti-Dawson Garcia by any stretch of the imagination. I really like the kid. But you think he's a better player than Amir Coffey?
At this state, right now, in
as a
the last
collegiate
year,
player.
yes.
Oh, you're comparing him to when Amir was in college.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
understand.
As a collegiate player, yes.
Okay, I would love to see Dawson Garcia make it to the NBA. He had a great second half. 27 points of his 32 were scored after halftime.
Yeah.
And the team has been a second-half team the last 2 games. They trailed at USC. They trailed last night, but had huge second halves to get these wins. Now, while we're talking about Golden Gophers and their pro potential, one name always jumps to mind for me when I think of a Golden Gopher where I thought this dude is built for the pros, and it just didn't happen, and that is Jordan by damn Murphy.
Yeah.
The way that kid could rebound and play under the...
I felt he was like one-dimensional, though.
And he might have been a little smallish for the NBA, too.
I really thought he had... he had everything it would take to be an NBA. I guess you never know till you get there.
No, and I think the thing about Garcia is he's got a range offensively.
He does.
He can play the post if you need him. He can shoot the three. If he doesn't end up getting an opportunity in the NBA, he's going to play overseas.
I think he's going to play in the NBA. He's 6'11", and he can shoot from the outside and put the ball on the floor, and
Well, that would be great. Next up, the Golden Gophers play at the Barn Saturday against Penn State. They already whooped Penn State once this year.
Their schedule, Nick, allows them an opportunity to possibly finish 500 in the Big Ten.
Let's go ahead with that.
I think their schedule is conducive enough where they've got a chance to finish 10-10 in the Big Ten.
Well, if they finish in the top 9, then they get out of that playing that first day too of the Big Ten tournament. If you finish,
I don't know if they're going to do that, but they've got to.
500, you will get out of that. You'll be in the top 9, I think.
Here's a guy you got to see, Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder. Here's a video you got to see. A dude's college basketball player by the name of Kyler Filewich, I believe is how you say it. Kyler Filewich. He's a big center. He plays ball for Wolford. And he's become the godless internet's latest fascination due to his wacky-ass free throw shooting form. He goes old school granny shot off the glass.
Rick Barry, baby.
Off the glass, too, huh?
Well, at least that's what his plan is going into it. It doesn't always work. His free throw shooting still, statistically, is terrible. But he chooses to go with the old school granny shot off the glass. Sure, Rick Barry comes to mind. The difference being that Rick Barry's career free throw shooting percentage was like 90%. Right. And this college kid is lucky if he's around 40.
But I'm saying, though, Rick Barry and there were some other guys that shot the shot that way.
Well, Jackie Moon.
Yeah. Their free throw percentages are pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, no.
I mean, it's an easier shot than it looks to perfect.
Okay.
It really is.
Easier than you think.
Oh, I think so.
All right.
I used to shoot granny shots all the time when I was in middle school and high school. And
that was your free throw, was the granny shot?
Well, I could shoot the free throw that way.
If you wanted to.
If I wanted to.
If you wanted to get your ass kicked.
And I practiced it a lot. And
did they beat your ass in the locker room because he
No. It was way more accepted than you think.
Back in those days.
Yes.
So look up this
name
kid.
probably has something to do with it too, right?
Granny.
Call it a granny shot. That's
yeah.
Well, we didn't really. I don't remember what we called it. We didn't call it a granny shot.
Oh, it wasn't called a granny shot then?
No,
that's what we always.
We called it a granny.
Go ahead and look this kid up if you like, because of course, because it's so old school and so uncommon. It's fun to watch. He's not terribly good at it. The video from last Saturday's game, he was currently shooting 31% from the line. That's really bad. But
if he's shooting it the other way, then it has to be worse than 31%. Because no college coach in his right mind
would allow him to keep doing that.
Yeah, right.
So
this is up on 93x.com. It might take some seconds to load, though. I had to put it to the top.
Rick Barry, who shot the granny shot, was a career 89.98% free throw shooter, 4th in NBA history.
Yeah.
This kid from Wolford, he's given it a shot at least, and it's fun to watch. Oh, man. All right, Brad Ryder, yesterday we were talking about how absolutely worthless the NBA All-Star weekend was.
Yeah.
We don't need to get into it in detail again because we did that yesterday. But here's, what they're doing already, of course, is they're trying to make new plans. Every year we hear this. Well, we're gonna do something new, and now it'll be interesting. We're gonna change this, and now the fans will watch. So since last weekend's disaster, here's the latest ideas. Not that any of these are brand new. We've heard them before. A one-on-one tournament.
No.
Okay. A World versus USA tournament.
No.
Fair enough.
Well, I think the thing is you got to get the players to care, and the only way to do that is to throw a massive cash prize to the winning team.
They've already tried that.
I'm not even sure that works.
They've already tried that.
I'm not sure that a massive amount. I just don't think that.
They're
works.
already rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing that can fix this. It's broken forever. It just is. It's broken.
Kevin Durant had the best idea I saw over the weekend. He's like, just, name us all-stars and give us 5 days off.
Yeah.
And call it good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've covered yes,
the only thing that they don't get out of that, Brad, is they don't get the public relation aspect of that. They don't get the show up in a city and the fans get a chance to see it.
You're doing coke with the fans at the hotel and whatnot.
Yeah, you don't get that if you do it that way. So
hose.
It's kind of like what the NFL has done. They've. I'm not saying that it totally works for the NFL, but it is a better, and it's kind of what we talked about before they did this, is find a way to bring everybody together in an atmosphere where you know for a fact that you're just going to have fun.
But I think
that you're not trying to masquerade it as something.
Yeah, but I think the key there is that the NFL players actually go there and care and enjoy the time together. You can tell when they're doing these skill things now, these NFL guys, that's they're having fun and they don't mind being there. And I think that's the big thing we're talking about too, is that none of these guys want to be there. And if you don't get the buy-in from the players, I was around it for years. If the players aren't bought into something, it's going to suck, no matter what it is.
Right.
So you disregarded a Team USA versus Europe or whatever.
I just don't. I don't think that unless it's an Olympic year where you.
Well, but it's working for the 4 food groups tournament. People seem to like that.
Well, is it though? Really?
Well, yeah. It sounds like it is.
Yeah,
it sounds like
it's massive.
People seem to like it.
The players are bought into it. Obviously, they care. But.
So we'll try that next year. We do this every year when we talk about the Pro Bowl and the NBA All-Star Game and the NHL All-Star Game. We do this every year, and we try to come up with a way to fix it. And it's just there's no fixing a lot of it. It just is what it is. Players are different now. Right. They don't want to. I think
something's missing too. And I've talked about this before. The Super Bowl ended, a little over a week ago, and here we're sitting, and the Wolves aren't playing for 6 days, and the Wild aren't playing for 2 weeks. There's something that isn't quite right about that from a league perspective. Like, this is the time of year when people start to pay attention to your sport after the NFL is over with, and nobody's able to because there's no games going on.
Right.
We've got this vacuum right now where, other than college basketball, nothing's going on.
Right.
I don't know. There's just no fixing some of the problems that are there.
Yeah, you're probably right, but there's got to be a better solution to it, where you find some sort of a happy medium between all of it.
Then next year try Team USA versus Europe or whatever the other effing nation might be. Because it is. I personally am not too wound up about it, and neither is Randy Shaver, but it seems like younger people are really taking this 4 food groups hockey tournament very seriously. So try that with basketball. What the hell do you got to lose? You got nothing to lose. It's bottomed completely out. By the way, my buddy Doug Welch texted in. Didn't mean to use his last name there. Dougie
Social Security number and address?
Dougie texted in and reminded me that Richie Cunningham on Happy Days shot granny shots.
That's right.
On the what the hell was the name of the school? Jefferson High School basketball team.
That's funny. A buddy of mine, I'm not going to give out his last name, but he texted me. His son was in a basketball tournament. His son's a 5th grader, and he shot a couple granny shots.
Good.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Hey, Hey, Randy Shaver, do you want to tell Brad about your experience at the Daytona 500?
No.
Okay.
I'm not going to rehash it. No.
It's terrible.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Brad, have Randy tell you off air.
Okay.
On a NASCAR note, who wants a piece of this? What's his name again? The Rainbow Warrior there from NASCAR.
Jeff Gordon?
Jeff Gordon is ready to partner with Tom Cruise on a Days of Thunder sequel.
I'd watch that.
Yeah, hell yeah, I'd watch that.
Can I tell you guys something about Days of Thunder? What? Never saw it!
It was panned quite heartily.
Hated Tom Cruise back in those days. Late 80s, I couldn't stand Tom Cruise.
Man, that was like peak Tom Cruise.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't?
No, it wasn't. Not for me, it wasn't.
Well, for the rest of the world, it was.
Yeah,
peak Tom Cruise was when he got a little older. I like that Valkyrie. You guys ever see Valkyrie?
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah. Wonderful movie. I never saw Days of Thunder, but okay, go ahead, make another one with Jeff Gordon. I don't know. What's his name? Cole Trickle? Is that his name in the movie?
Yep.
He can
Dana just made a Cole Trickle reference the other day. I picked up on it, Dana.
Oh, I thought you said Dick Trickle.
No, different Trickle. Cole Trickle.
Because
there's nothing better than a different trickle.
And obviously,
different than a Dick Trickle.
Dick Trickle is a local legend. Who had a bad ending. Obviously, that's where they borrowed the name from, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
It must be.
Yeah, paying tribute in some way.
But like I said, I'm not a Days of Thunder guy. Never saw it. So there you go. Randy Shaver says here now that College Football 25 video game that you got crazy about a few months ago.
Yes.
Highest selling sports video game of all time. Who else played it aside from Randy Shaver? Anybody?
Right here.
Yeah, Wapple did.
So now the college football players featured in the game want some more monies out of the deal. What do you think about that?
I'm not surprised by that. One of the things I was thinking about this, and this kind of getting in the weeds a little bit, with the other video games, you can change the rosters around. You can move the players around. With the college game, unless I'm missing something, you can't move them around. And so it forces you to have to buy the game every year to stay up to date with all the players being able to, transfer or whatever, if you want to play it realistically.
I guess I haven't done that far into it.
Yeah, but I think that's why players probably want more money, is that it forces the game users to have to buy a new game every year if you want it to be realistic.
That makes sense.
All right.
Like in baseball, I can keep a game for 2 years and move the players around and adjust their, ratings and stuff and still feel like I've got a competent game that's close to realistic. In the college football game, I don't think you can move the players around. And so now, for example, the Gophers had how many guys transfer? And they're at different places. And so you really almost have to buy the game every year if you want it to feel realistic.
Yeah, because like baseball and Madden, you could go into the rosters and change the settings to be like current rosters, so then your game updates and it'll update where that player went.
You're right, Randy. This is way too far into the weeds here. I don't have any idea what anyone's talking about. The players want more money because it's the highest selling friggin' video game of all time. That's why the players want more money.
The next level video game will be somebody will come up with a college one where you have NIL money to spend, and then you'll be able to go out and spend the money in your video game within the game on different players.
It's in the game, Brad Ryder.
Yeah.
It's in the game.
Sports.
It's in the game. All right, so they want more money. I think first time around when they made this College Football 25, each player featured in the game was given a one-time $600 payment, as well as a free copy of the game.
Yeah.
And now they're saying that's chicken. Let's make a few more bucks off this, and that's the new state of things.
I don't think that the current college football players understood the real attraction to that game because it had been lost for 12 years?
Yeah, 12, 15, something like that.
Yeah, and so I don't think the current players realized how popular that game was. Mm-hmm. And so now when it came back this year for the first time, everybody's realizing, oh, wow, people really did love that game, and they loved what you could do with it, and the new nuances to the game as well. So
right on.
I'm not surprised by that.
No, I don't think anybody is, especially when it's sold like crack rocks, the way it did.
And I thought they were making a college basketball game, but I haven't seen one, so I don't think that happened.
All right, we were talking about a sequel to an old 80s NASCAR movie called The Days of Our Lives. What the hell was it called again? Days of Thunder. And now people are texting in about remakes and sequels. Somebody texted in something about The Outsiders. Are they making another Outsiders movie? Since we were talking about Tom Cruise, he has a small role in the old 83 movie, The Outside. Don't remake The Outsiders. What's the matter with
Don't ruin something good.
Well, they're redoing Naked Gun, are they not?
They are.
With Liam Neeson?
Well, that's, I will not be getting involved in that at all.
Looks like they're doing an Outsiders Broadway show. So I think
Broadway?
Yeah, they can go ahead and do that.
I'll be there.
They can do whatever they want.
Hey, man, Leslie Nielsen and now Liam Neeson. Is that a joke or something?
No, that's actually happening.
That sounds
I just want to see somebody make one good movie that I want to go to a movie theater and see.
Go see Valkyrie.
But not in theaters.
Go see...
Go see the new Paddington, bro.
No, he's not 7.
That movie's adorable.
Remaking The Naked Gun with Liam Neeson, the guy who he does blow 'em up movies.
Yep.
That sounds awful.
And it looks like it's being written by Seth MacFarlane and all the Family Guy people.
Heroin, Frank. Heroin. That's a pretty tall order, Nordberg. You're going to have to give me a couple of days on that. Don't worry, Wilma. That's Nordberg's wife. Not one officer on the force is going to rest until we find out who did this to Nordberg. Now let's go get a bite to eat. Sorry to keep bringing it up, but I think this is exciting. Once again, I saw an article that claimed that the Minnesota Vikings, whoever their head coach is next year.
Stop.
I saw another article that said, once again, the Minnesota Vikings are the best possible landing spot for that goofy bastard Karen Rodgers for next football season. Again, whether Kelvin O'Connor gets traded or not, they're saying that the Vikings are the number one landing spot for Karen.
No.
You would have to be so dumb. So dumb.
Why would you do that?
Patrick Mahomes Sr., asshat that he is, he admitted that the stupid John Rocker bit on Bourbon Street over Super Bowl weekend was staged, and not that he needed to tell us, but it is a setup. It is a setup to hype a fake boxing match with John Rocker, okay? Now, the reason this came to light...
It's kind of hilarious.
Because who would care in the first place, right? Mahomes, who is still on probation, I believe, from all the trouble he got in last year around Super Bowl time, right? He was given permission to travel to watch the Super Bowl this year, to watch his son in the Super Bowl. But then he gets into this squabble with Rocker.
Oh, no.
It ends up on social media, and then he missed a piss test a few days later. He needs to take urine tests every 6-8 hours or something like that.
Yep.
He misses a urine test, and then the cops call him and say, "What's going on? You missed a piss test, and there's video of you looking to get in a fight on Bourbon Street." So he has to go to a court and admit, that's all a bit, and sorry, I slept through my urine test or something. So that's how it all came to light.
I was wondering if he was on probation or anything because of what he did last year when this video came out. Because, your parole officer doesn't really mess with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, this guy is such a loser.
That's so... I would love to be his parole officer.
You stay busy, man.
So easy.
You make a lot of phone calls if you're his Are you okay, Randy?
Phone issues?
What's that?
You all right?
Yeah.
Did you fall off your chair?
He's adjusting his undies.
No, just a coughing fit.
I heard you coughing a little bit.
It's almost lunchtime at the senior home in Florida.
Oh, pudding! Yay!
Sounded like you were rolling around with your microphone there for a minute or two. Just want to make sure you were all right.
Sorry.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes Sr. versus John Rocker in a fake boxing match coming this April.
Oh, boy.
For you fight fans.
That'll be what really rejuvenates boxing back to their glory days, is John Rocker against Patrick Mahomes Sr.
Joe Burrow trade rumors
No, they won't do that.
No.
That's what I read yesterday. Joe Burrow trade rumors.
I'm reading more trade rumors about J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, that's exciting. I like that.
Trying to get that number 1 pick back.
I like that stuff, Brad Ryder.
I do too.
Has anyone here ever taken a 100-mile-per-hour baseball to their face?
No.
Nope.
A University of Nebraska pitcher let a ground ball smash him into his face during a college baseball game a day or two ago. One hopper who was just traveling too fast off of those ridiculous aluminum bats that they use in college baseball. Can folks see what this kid's face looks like on our website, Ashley?
Yes, they can.
You can see what this kid's face turned into after that kind of an incident. A pitcher by the name of Tucker Timmerman. He put some pics online. Now, I've seen much worse. He looks like a hockey player is what he looks like. But what's cute about it is he takes this 100-mile-per-hour ground ball to his mush in the 9th inning, and he didn't go anywhere. He stayed in the dugout with his teammates until the end of the game, and then he sat with his teammates for a post-game picture where he's displaying his new look. And that's the fun part. Big smile on his face. He's minutes past this terrible incident, but there he is grinning with his teammates. He was later taken to a doctor's office, and it turned out he fractured a bone near his left eye and could be in line for what they call here face surgery.
What's going on with his lip? That's what I can't stop staring at.
It exploded like a zit on prom night.
That was pretty gross.
I've had a couple times where I just got the glove up in time when I was pitching BP to my youth baseball teams, standing like 20 feet away from them behind an L screen. But yeah,
and you're a handsome guy.
Hell yeah!
Thank you.
That would be noticeable if you came into school after something like that.
Oh my gosh, that looks so painful.
This kid just looks like a herpy with eyes now.
When I played fast pitch softball, I used to, me and a couple of the other girls, it was normal for you to kind of make fun of the girls that were playing the infield wearing the masks that would protect their face. It was just something fun to make fun of until I saw somebody get absolutely nailed, a third baseman with a ball in the face, and saw what happened to her face, and I thought, I'm never going to make fun of those girls again.
Didn't you have to?
That's a high school league rule.
Yeah, it's a rule now?
Yeah, it's a rule.
Minnesota State High School League rule that if you play an infield position in high school softball, you have to wear a mask.
Oh, gosh, yeah, I've seen some bad things happen to girls.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that recent.
Oh. Check this kid out on the website, on the internet. What do we call it? 93x.com.
Hey, Nick.
Yes,
Hey,
Nick. Your name is Randy.
Before you bring on Foligno,
yeah,
I was just reading this morning. I thought you'd find this funny. Empty net goals.
Yeah, go ahead.
20 years ago, 2% of all goals scored in the NHL were empty net goals. Today, 7% of all goals are empty net goals. Every 14th goal is now an empty net goal in the NHL.
And a lot of listeners wonder why I lose my cool.
We are going to be talking to one of the leaders right now in the NHL in empty net goals.
I'm so glad you're bringing this up, Randy Shaver, because we keep meaning to bring this up to Marcus, and then we forget. Here's a guy who should be well rested, fresh off a Mexican vacation, if I remember right. It's wild forward Marcus Foligno. Marcus, are you there?
How are we doing?
We're doing great, man. How was your vacation?
Oh, always never long enough, but it was great. It was great. We had a Puerto Vallarta. It was awesome, beautiful weather. We got lucky there, and it was good. It was a nice time just to kind of relax mentally and physically, and now we're excited to get back going here again.
And you're practicing again now, huh?
Yeah, we started yesterday, and then we have today, tomorrow, Friday before the game Saturday. So it's good. It's nice to have a couple practices after that long of a break just to get back into it. I think the normal break, before this Four Nations Cup is about 2 practices, and then I think you play a game. So it's nice to have a couple more buffer days.
You got some time to warm up for Saturday. You got a matinee in Detroit. So I want to talk about your vacation. before we move on to anything else. Mexico, right? You went with your brother and his wife, and the food and the beer. Did you swim? Did you surf? Did you snorkel? Do you get involved in any of that kind of a thing?
Yeah, we did. We didn't surf, but there were lessons throughout. The beach that we had some pretty good waves coming in, so they had that option for you. But we just honestly relaxed, and on the stand was nice. The ocean side was really nice, and the food obviously was very good. The fish and the seafood, all that stuff was amazing. So nice and relaxed, and we honestly just stayed put and didn't do too much, and that's what we wanted to accomplish. We did a little bit of a boat day, which was nice. Got to see some whales and stuff like that. So that's always a pretty cool treat to see those things. They're absolutely enormous, but didn't get too close to the boat, which was the main thing. That we didn't want to get too close to those things. I always see those videos of whales popping up and hitting little kayakers or something. So we did not want to be that type of person that day. So it was fun. It was a good, great trip.
That's great to hear. And Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder, if you're not aware of this, we were just talking about this kayak video that Marcus just referred to. That friggin' humpback whale did more than just nudge that kayaker. It swallowed the sumbitch and spit him back out again. Did you see that, Randy?
I did see it, yes.
Yeah, it freaks me out, that stuff.
Come on.
The ocean is not I'm not a big fan of
deathly
swimming in it.
If you're that person, how long does it take you to forget that experience?
Never.
Yeah, you never do.
You wake up every night and you think,
You're dreaming about that a lot.
Yeah.
Deathly afraid.
Yeah, that's nuts.
So you're not an ocean guy either, Marcus Foligno. Neither am I. Randy doesn't like it. I don't trust what the hell goes on in the ocean. Everything looks so frightening. So you're not the kind of guy then, Marcus, who's going to cannonball off the side of the boat and swim with the whatever the hell nonsense is going on down there.
I did off the back of the boat this time, but when you land in the water, I barely get wet because I'm swimming as fast as I can back to the ladder. So it's one of those things. But yeah, I just when I'm in the ocean, I am not the alpha in that thing. There's something else out there that can make you pray pretty quick. So it's the scary feeling of that thing where you're not in control or not the bigger one.
Cool. Okay. I'm glad we're on the same page there because, the few times I've been in the ocean, I get the hell out of there as quickly as possible. Well, we're glad you had a nice vacation down there. It must have been wonderful. Now, let's talk empty net goals. Randy Shaver just brought this up. We got a fun.
Hey, I'm all about talking empty net goals. What do you guys want to know?
How many of those friggin' things do you have this season now, empty net goals?
Probably too many. Too many.
Is there a joke in... Go ahead. I'm sorry, interrupt you.
Bill Gaines calling me the Cookie Monster, so it's one of those things. An empty net goal is like getting yourself a cookie, right? So it's just, hey, they don't ask how, they ask how many, so I'll keep going. And hey, you got to be put in those situations with an empty net. You know, you could be on the bench and not doing much, so it's one of those. If you're going to be out there, you might as well score and get the insurance goal.
Sure. Randy Shaver just mentioned that 20 years ago, 2% of all NHL goals were empty netters. Now it's up to 7%, which is just hilarious to me.
That's wild, yeah. I know.
Do you get your balls busted in the locker room for empty net goals?
You know what? Yes and no. I think if it's the only thing you're doing, I mean, it's.
I mean, sarcastically, of course. Sarcastically.
What I'm doing lately, I think a couple times, guys would be like, it's a lot easier when the goalie's not net. I don't know why. That's pretty common sense. But no, I right now I got to start scoring with the goalie in. But if you could balance it out with that, I'm always up for an empty net. I got to start passing now when I get it.
Do us a favor. If the opportunity presents itself Saturday in Detroit, do us a favor. Just dump it in. Dump it in.
I don't know the record of empty nets in the season by a single player. Do you guys know?
Oh man, someone should try to look that up. Most empty net goals, the record for a season. That will be something to follow. See if
I think I can try to break it this year.
Yeah.
We're going to break that record. If there's one record I can break, it might be that one.
I'm seeing it's 9.
I'm at 4. That's not bad. You got some time.
You're halfway there.
Who holds that record, Brad Ryder?
Alex Ovechkin and Pavel Bure are tied with 9.
Well, those are big names,
that's
Marcus.
a list, yeah.
That's a good list to be on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, now that makes.
Don't know this, but we were playing Chicago a couple weeks ago, and I scored an empty net goal in that game. And I actually had for whatever reason, they pulled their goalie again, and I got it. And I actually felt bad because my brother was on the ice, so I actually chipped it in on my backhand. No one knows about that stuff. See, those are the moral victories in my head.
We just got the
I can't
inside
give this guy a minus again.
So you could have gotten 2 ENs in a game, but out of sympathy for your brother, you chipped it in on the backhand. Now that's a friggin' hockey player right there, in my opinion.
Now, what if you end up with 8 empty net goals this year and you're 1 short?
Then I'm gonna be kicking myself.
Yeah.
Or if you get
or
9.
Even if I tie it.
And you have an
I gotta get 10. That'd be great. 10 empty net goals. That's a good season.
On the 10th, do a spinorama before you shoot it in. Just really make it super flashy.
I might go between my legs.
Yeah. if you do it at home, make them stop the game and award you the puck.
Exactly.
Fans are throwing flowers on the ice.
You ever see a guy shoot empty net goal and go and pick up his own puck? That'd be me. I'm changing it.
Yes.
I'm so glad we were able to finally talk about this. Because
trust me, I've been thinking about it too. I'm like, I really got to fix for him.
You've been meaning to say something as well?
What's that?
You've been meaning to say something about this as well.
Yes, yeah, I need to get things off my chest. It just happens to be I'm out there and the net's empty. What do you want me to do? All right.
Well, I want you to dump it in, but this is so much fun that we've gotten around to this, and now learning. I mean, we're going to watch you anyway, Marcus, because we love watching the Pigs and we love watching you play. And you've been such a great addition to this show. I hope we make that clear to you how much we enjoy talking to you.
Oh, thank you.
We're going to follow you anyway, but now that we know you are in the chase.
Yeah, we've got something to cheer
I'm like,
for.
go for this against Gretzky. I'm coming for Pavel Bure and those guys.
Yeah.
Empty net, the great empty net chase.
2025.
Net chase. That's awesome.
I mean, I expected Brad Ryder to dump a couple of obscure names on us when he found the record, but it's Pavel Bure and Alexander Ovechkin. Those are 2 of the most wildly skilled, fantastic players to ever lace them up, and your name could be right there with them. This is going to be the most exciting second half of Wild hockey ever.
Can you imagine if he's tied at 9 and we get towards the end of the season, the opposing team wants to see it happen, they just pull their goalie in the second period.
Every time they see you come on the ice, the goalie comes off.
That's
Here
a
comes
great
Marcus,
idea,
there
Josh.
goes goalie.
Hey, Brett Favre laid down for Marcus Strahan, whatever the hell that guy. What am I talking about? We used to.
The sack.
Michael Strahan.
It'd be great if at the XL they have like a big counter, and anytime he gets one, they unveil the new number. He's up to 7 now. He's up to 7.
Come on, Marcus. This is going to be fun.
They'll have the little ticker there on the side, like a corner of the TV, of how many empty nets they got.
But you're right. I mean, the coach puts you out there in those situations because he knows you're going to hit the net. You're going to hit the net if given the opportunity.
And here's the thing. When you have an empty net, and as a winger, you probably have the best chance of scoring out of those 5 guys because you're at the top of the blue line, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it be. So, but sometimes guys pass it to you, and they get pissed off if you don't put it in the net because it's an easy assist for them. So I'm doing everyone a solid here who's on the ice for me. So that's what I mean. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So that's
yeah. You're one of the better defensive wings on the team, so you're going to be out there in a 1-goal game, and we've had a lot of leads this year. So, I mean, what can you do?
Yeah, and to be fair, the last one I had, I just backhanded it out, hoping it would just get out. That was just the gods coming down. This guy pushed extremely hard. Let's give him an empty net goal again.
Oh, Marcus.
Here's the thing.
But it's amazing when that goalie gets pulled, how you just all of a sudden get another oxygen tank. You just get a little bit more pep in your step. That's how it works. I don't know why, but your energy level just gets a little bit higher when that goalie comes out.
Isn't that something, how that works? Yeah.
I think the odds are pretty good. If I count right, there's 26 games left.
All right.
So 26 games left, and we need how many? We need
5 for the tie.
We need 6, though.
6 for the record.
We don't want to share.
No.
We don't want to share this. We want Marcus to have it by
No,
himself.
we need 10 empty net goals and 10 goals with a goalie in. That's awesome. Give me that every season. I'll be laughing.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
That's what we're going for. We have 26 games and 6. We need 6.
If you get
Wonder
this
if playoff games count.
No, probably not. Probably not with that all-time record.
But I can start a new- But I can maybe try to start a new record in the playoffs. Too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's just go for the
He's
regular
all in,
season.
Man. He's all in.
I love your motivation.
No one's going to be complaining about empty nets in the playoffs.
No.
If you pull this off, Marcus, we're going to friggin' Applebee's, baby. I'm telling you right now.
Oh, I'll take you guys Applebee's for sure.
Hell yeah. Christ, there was something else I was going to ask you about. Well, the four, we've been calling it the four food groups cup. What do you think of the tournament so far? Have you been paying attention at all?
Yeah, I have. It's been awesome. I mean, for just to get some the international play again with the countries and stuff. It's been great. You obviously like to see more countries involved because there's some other great teams, but it's a great starting piece. I think it's been displayed well. I think the talent and the speed of the game is amazing. It's been huge for hockey, for countries. It's been awesome. I think it's. I saw something about the viewership last game against U.S. Canada, how it went through the roof. So, for me, this is fun. I mean, I'm not in it, and rightfully so. These guys are incredible for their countries, and it's just amazing to see these guys hop over the boards, and then you have a power play line of for the U.S. you have Eichel, Kachuk, you got McAvoy, and it's just all these big names, and it goes on Canada side. You got Crosby, McKinnon, McDavid. It's so good for the game. It's so good for the fans, and the last game was a lot of fun to watch, especially the first 9 seconds. So it was great.
Who are you rooting for? Because you got roots, in both countries.
Yeah, I got roots in both. I mean, it's tough too because you got teammates, but at the end of the day, it's the country, and I think I've already won the way I look at it. It's 50-50. So no, but I think. I'm always rooting, for Canada in a way because of having played for World Juniors in Canada. So, but I'd be really happy for obviously USA with Bolts and Favors being there.
We got people texting in right now to the radio station. Marcus Foligno saying, finally a goal record that I can get behind. As Marcus, we've been discussing Marcus chasing the all-time record for empty net goals in a season. A listener promises to burn their Ovechkin jersey if you beat the record this
I would love to do it the night if Ovechkin comes. I think he comes and plays us at the end of the season where he could possibly be breaking the record. Oh. It would be something if he broke the record against us, but then I break the empty net record against him.
Totally overshadow him.
That's for my empty net record.
That'd be awesome.
By the way, I don't know if we told you this yet, Marcus, but a couple weeks ago, when you weren't available, we talked to Kevin Gorg. Did we mention this to you yet, Marcus, that we had a conversation with Kevin Gorg?
I think yeah.
Yeah, we talked to Marcus right after.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, we talked to him back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Did we tell Marcus what Kevin said about him?
Yes.
Okay.
The singing?
No, not the singing.
Was it about the hair or what?
Not the hair, not your gorgeous face, not the singing. He said you could talk a dog off a meat truck.
Oh, man.
I forgot that we had talked to him so close together.
Labels on me right now. Empty net king and talk a dog off a meat truck.
That's you, baby. That's you.
Yeah. No, I like the chat. That's one thing that everyone knows about me.
And we do too.
Some guys on my team tell me, "Would you shut up?" Who's gonna talk then if I'm not talking?
Thank you. I say the same thing.
Well, who's the guy on your roster where it's like pulling teeth to get him to say anything? Because I like talkative people. I like to talk to people and get to know people. Some folks are much more quiet. Who's the guy that you gotta pry to get a conversation out of?
On our team?
Yeah, on your roster.
Oh, geez. That's a good one. Usually it's a European. Like Liam Ogren is a little bit quiet.
Well, I suppose if you struggle with the language, that would make sense.
Yeah,
that you
but
would...
okay. If you're talking English-speaking, American, Canadian, geez, you know what? We got a lot of guys that will get in the conversation with you.
Well, that's good that you got a talkative group.
We got a talkative group, but I'm just the one that will just say whatever on my mind. That's all. Some guys like to hold it in, which I understand that part, but I don't know too much about how you can do that, right? So, conversation starter is what I'm best at.
Well, and we love you for it. We do. Yeah, I mean, hell, it'd be something if everyone just kind of sat there thumbing themselves in the locker room. It's good that the boys talk and get to know each other a little bit.
Well, you know, these days, the bus, especially as everyone's heads in their phones, right? So.
Yeah. Do you speak?
I like to do like the minute rule. No phones. You got to talk to someone.
Well, that's a good idea too. Yeah.
And the young guys, you just ignore me and go back on their phones. So the young guys these days.
Well, you know, speaking of these players that come over from all parts of the world and don't speak the language, do you speak any secondary languages, Marcus Foligno?
No.
What about in school? Did you take French or Spanish?
I wish I could speak it. I wish I could have spoke Italian. My dad speaks fluent Italian, and that's just something that he never kind of passed down to us. And I'm like, damn, I've tried the Rosetta Stone for a year. Well, I would say a year, probably about 4 months, and it was it didn't last. So.
Really, fluent Italian? I bet you that sounds really cool. At least in the movies, it always sounds cool.
Yeah, the mafia movies, all that stuff. It's just like, man, such a nice language. And when I was growing up in the States, I was able to speak Spanish. I was writing it, and then we moved to Canada, so that turned into French, and French that was tough. So yeah, it's too bad. I know the words down in Mexico that I can say for a drink and something like that, but that's it.
So you're telling us you know how to say cerveza?
That's it.
Corona.
Word. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it before.
Oh man, another great conversation, Marcus. We appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Continue to relax, and then give her your all Saturday there against the Detroit Red Wings. We'll talk to you in a couple weeks, Marcus.
All right, we'll talk to you guys when I get to number 5 of the year on Empty Nets.
That'd be great. Thanks, pal.
All right, see you guys.
Our Minnesota Wild Report conversation with Marcus brought to you by Luther Kia of Bloomington. We got something to follow now, boys.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We got something to follow. I mean, might as well pull the plug here. Randy Shaver, Brad Ryder, thanks very much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Break time. We'll be back in a few minutes on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
They got their heads up their ass.
On 93X.
Dana here to tell you all about my new friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. You see, I've been doing apartment living ever since my parents kicked me out back in the day, but now I'm back living in a house. I'm absolutely clueless when it comes to any project. That's where Standard comes into play. They cranked on my furnace to get it really cooking for another cold winter. And think about this. Standard's been doing this for over 95 years. That means at one point, they made sure your great-grandpappy was all nice and warm in his butt-flap jammies. So get in touch with the folks at standardheating.com and make sure you ask about becoming a Smart Club member. That's standardheating.com.
Wealth building expert Candy Valentino paves the path to success.
I was a founder before I could legally order a drink. Now my goal is to help you. And I interview guest experts.
David Anderson, I love what you said. I always say that you never learn in an echo chamber.
It's how we connect those dots to help us achieve the things we want to.
Tony Robbins, thank you so much for being here.
Of course, everybody loses money investing. Make sure you win in the long term.
How did you get rich?
I had to sum it up. Just a lot of hard work.
The Candy Valentino Show. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
There's a douchiness to them.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Oh, well, thank you so damn much. Thank you so much for tuning in to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show Wednesday morning. We've made it all the way up to 8:29. Cold as balls. Hey, if you weren't listening yesterday, if you missed our big personal announcement from yesterday, well, it's Ashley's big personal announcement.
I think it's all of ours.
She's knocked up, aren't you, Smash?
Yes, I am. Sorry.
That's
yes, I am.
Pregnancy brain. You forgot to turn your mic on.
Yeah, dude. That's been getting me.
What in the hell was that? I heard a voice.
I'm going to get everyone in this building pregnant.
Oh. Knocked up, aren't you?
Yep.
Your first baby. As far as you know.
Yeah, as far as I know. Yeah.
It's your first baby, Josh.
And your fiance's first baby, as far as you know?
Yes. Oh, wouldn't that be something?
Well, that is a big, big first. That is a big first. Now, on a much less dramatic scale, let's discuss some other meaningful, notable firsts that most of us have experienced. Much less dramatic scale than a first baby, like I said. The folks at something called Barstool Sports went ahead and ranked the top 16 best firsts in life. And I question how some of these made the top 16, but whatever.
You kind of wonder.
I wondered how some of these made a list of the top 16 best firsts in life, but we'll go ahead anyway. 651-989-9393. Text in if you have an idea on a special first from your life. Obvious answers: first kiss, first time you get at the F on. Let's get that out of the way. Let's just get that out of the way, because obviously losing your V card is a massive first for everybody. First kiss. I'm less interested in any conversation on our first time having sex. I'm less interested in that than I am of the first kiss. That story draws me in even more, I think, because usually we were quite young.
And you're talking real kiss.
Yeah, of course. Not a peck on the cheek from your aunt or something stupid. The first real passionate kiss that you tried to deliver.
Mine all happened at the same time.
It's got it all out of the way at once?
Yeah, all the firsts, there was all the same time.
That's right.
Booze and drugs, too, is everything?
I've never done the drugs.
I know.
That is so interesting to me now that we're talking about it, because I remember that. The first time you passionately, meaningfully kissed a woman was also the first night you had sex.
Yeah, absolutely everything.
That is insane to me, that's the way it played out for you. My God, talk about a trial by fire.
Yeah, and I was older, so I guess just at that time, probably assumed you'd do all that other stuff. But yeah, everything was all
18, 19, I forgot. And
a couple months into being 18.
You had never French kissed a girl passionately until you hit 18.
Yeah, just pecks, that's about it.
F me.
So some hand holding.
Oh,
certainly.
Ooh.
My first kiss was very typical. It was, it's like very movie-esque. It was at a roller rink.
Classic.
Yeah, we stopped like halfway through the roller rink, and he was taller than me, and so it was a little bit difficult with the balance, and we kind of missed the first kiss a little bit because of the roller skates. And
grade school kid?
I think I was in middle school at this time.
Was it during the
I think it was 6th grade.
Was it during the always stressful, like, couple skate,
where
somebody
snowball dance.
Snowball, you go down and pick a girl to skate around the rink with?
No, that wasn't normal. Or I guess it never happened when I was at the roller rink. They didn't really do the couple skate anymore.
Hearing your life story here over the years, we all know a lot about each other due to this occupation. I'm surprised. When you were in junior high, you tell us you were drinking before school and whatnot, but yet you hadn't had a real kiss with a boy until junior high?
Yeah, elementary school was rough for my looks. I really needed puberty. Puberty saved me quite a bit once I got to middle school.
Sure.
Yeah, boys were not my biggest fan.
They were not interested in
school.
You.
No.
You were not. Wait a minute. You weren't fans of them, or they weren't fans of you, or it was mutual?
They weren't fans of me.
Because my first kiss, my God, I think I was a first grader or something like that.
First passionate kiss?
Yeah, where
I don't know if that counts in first grade. That's not like real passion, right?
But I meant to make out. I knew what I was attempting to do. I was attempting to make out. I don't know.
To me, it seems like
I'm not going to worry about it if you don't count it. But
I would think it'd be more like if you were like really, I don't know. I don't want to say horny, but horny, I guess. Like you were in first grade, you're probably not.
I had to be horny?
Well, I'm just thinking, because that's like a real kiss, right?
I don't
just
know.
The mechanics of it.
I don't know. We were kissing girls and meaning it, I guess, very, very young. Let's go to this top 16. According to Barstool Sports, and I see a lot of text coming in. This will be some work for us here in a few minutes. According to Barstool Sports, these are the top 16 best firsts in life. And the first couple here really struggle, for me personally. first night with a new video game console. Come on.
Dude, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's huge.
Oh, I can remember every single time.
Yep.
I wish I was into that kind of thing because people obviously love it, and you three are great examples.
When you
of
get that thing home and it's just the clean, pristine box. Oh, it's just wonderful.
Oh, I get the chills thinking of booting it up for the first time.
Hearing the sound.
Yep.
You just unwrap it at Christmas and just your face, so much joy.
Every other gift doesn't matter. If you have gifts left to unwrap, screw those. Those can wait.
Yep.
All right, first cheat meal when you're on a hardcore diet.
Oh, yeah. That hits.
I had a friend once. She completed P90X. Remember that was the trendy workout thing for a while back in the day?
Those were huge.
Yeah. She did it all 90 days, was just shredded. And then after her last workout, we went to Old Chicago and she ate a deep dish pizza all by herself.
Good for her.
It was awesome.
It doesn't have to be a special occasion, Dana.
No, I know. But it was just notable. She just completed this insane, because I tried P90X once. I got to like day 3 and I couldn't move.
Yeah.
And she did all 90 and she just houses this massive pizza for herself. I was just really proud of her.
I know this one's on the list, but we're getting so many texts on the first paycheck from your first job.
Yeah.
And then, not understanding, at least I didn't understand, and it seems like texters had this similar experience. I didn't understand how much comes out of that thing. I didn't understand why. Wait, why is that top number so much different than the bottom number?
Absolutely. That's a good one, and it does make the list. Your first official paycheck. That's a big moment for people. That should be on this list of best firsts. Now, I've never been on a diet, so I don't know the sensation of a cheat meal when you're on a hardcore diet, but I'm sure I can relate. I mean, something similar, I think, was when Josh and I went and had our family colonoscopy a couple years ago, and you can't eat for 12 hours, and that first sandwich that I had after that was over was glorious. I can't imagine being on a diet for 6 months or something and then having that experience. That must be mind-blowing. First sip out of an ice-cold can of pop, it says here. I'm going to replace that with beer because that still is a wonderful feeling. Oh, wait a minute. I lost my train of thought of what we're discussing. We're not discussing wait a minute.
You're talking about the very first time you ever tried beer.
Okay. Oh, okay. Let's go with that. Very first time I ever tried beer, that was not pleasant.
Yeah, I didn't like it either.
No.
Gross.
No, okay. So that changes my outlook on that.
It's kind of like the nerdy kid and can't hardly wait when he takes his first sip and spits it out and he goes, "Nobody drink the beer. The beer has gone bad." And everyone's looking at him like, "Tastes like beer to me, dude."
I don't remember my first sip of pop. I wish I could, because I'm sure I went crazy as a young kid. First sip of beer was not pleasant. I thought it was awful, and I looked up at my dad and his best friend, and I think I directly asked them, "How do you drink this stuff?" First,
I remember that with coffee, too. Everybody was so into coffee, and I thought the same thing. Like, this is disgusting. Why would somebody do this on purpose?
You couldn't get me to drink a cup of coffee if you put your dong to my head. First day of a long vacation. First day of a long vacation. You like to think that you'll always remember that feeling, but then it goes away so quickly. But the first day of a long vacation is a great feeling.
Yeah. You think the possibilities are endless of all the things you're going to do and accomplish, and
then what happens next, Dana? You're loading up the car to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's over.
That is weird. Let's say you have a whole week off. I'll wait until the Sunday before we return to get to the list.
Yeah.
Like a week ahead of time, I'll think, I'm going to get all this done. I'm going to dust the blinds.
Yeah.
I bet those blinds have never been dusted.
And even if you don't have a list of chores or whatever the word might be, you think you're going to make the most out of all of your vacation days, and you just don't.
No.
I know I don't.
Mm-mm. You're like, what did I even do? I did watch 47 episodes of South Park one day.
You don't remember a thing about it. Once it's over, you don't remember any of it.
You just spent a lot of time with that temptress Netflix.
Mm-hmm. All right, some of these best firsts in life, some of them are really interesting. Some not so much, but some are. First time using a swear word in conversation.
Don't remember that.
So you're a little... I don't remember mine, but I remember my brother's. And he dumped this F word in front of a pile of adults. And some of them were very upset. Some of them were laughing hysterically because this tiny little boy had just dumped the F word on them. So I don't remember mine, but I remember my brother's. He wanted to tell a joke to the adults at this family party, and he did. And he dumped the F word into the joke. And I guess I should be more specific. The men were laughing, the women were not. But that's, if you could remember that would be pretty cool to remember the first time you properly used a swear word in conversation. I do it so often, I don't have an appreciation for it anymore.
I can remember mine, but I mean, it wasn't the F-bomb or anything like that, but I said hell in class in 5th grade. Now, the reason I remember is because I dropped in conversation and it was cool, but then some girl goes up to the teacher, she goes, Dana just said H-E double hockey stick. And the teacher's like, yeah, okay. Just didn't care.
I got yelled at for saying crap at a buddy's house.
No.
I didn't know that was a bad word.
Crap, that's not a bad word. This isn't meaningful to me, but for others, I'm sure you remember it. First time going to a casino. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I like casinos. I love the vibe at a casino. But it wasn't something that when I was 18 that I was shooting for or anything like that.
They all kind of run together now. I can't remember the very first time.
Oh, I remember because I won. I won like $78 and I was pumped.
Well, my first time at a casino was at the arcade. They used to have like kids arcades in some of those, like grand casinos. And my parents would hand me like a $5 to get some tokens while they went and did real gambling. And I was in heaven.
So for me, I thought just like in high school, everybody on their 18th birthday went to the VU and the casino. So that's exactly what we did.
Yeah, well, we certainly did the VU, but none of us were big casino guys back then. Wapple, first time you went to a casino, you won $78.
Yeah.
Was that the last time you saw $78?
No, pretty much.
Yeah. First time making a big irresponsible purchase. Anyone got anything on that? First irresponsible purchase?
I guess not irresponsible.
Yeah, I can't think of anything because I've never really purchased anything significant aside from your basic car, house kind of a thing.
When I first got a credit card, I bought a $900 DVD player, and it took me about 3 years to pay it off. This was like maybe 1995 or 6.
$900.
Yeah, it was like $900, and it wasn't like that was just kind of how much a lot of those were at the time. And then you're buying DVDs. So I put it on a credit card. It took me over 3 years to pay it off. It was ridiculous. And the thing, by the way, stopped working within a year because of the regional codes on DVDs changed, and mine couldn't read those.
Oh, that sucks.
So it was a paperweight, and I was still paying for that thing.
First time making a big sports play in a game. There's probably a better way to say that. Your first.
That sounds like somebody who's never played a sport.
Yeah.
You play sports. The first
Did you
time.
make a sports
so
play?
the first time you had a big goal or a big moment playing youth sports, I do remember mine. I do. And it was my very first year of mite hockey. And we had goalies. Because sometimes in the mites they just put the shooter tutor up, but we had goalies. None of them knew what they were doing. None of us knew what we were doing. We were just, how mites are. It's like bees. What do they say? Something chasing a something.
Like bees to honey.
Sure.
Or something like that.
Everyone on the ice is just following the puck. Yeah. No one's playing position.
Yep.
You don't know what you're doing. And I'm at center ice, and the puck comes to me, and I just helplessly swept at it, and it went in the net. The goalie, hopeless as the rest of us, couldn't stop this slow-moving puck from going in the net. And I do vividly, still to this day, remember looking up into the stands to see the reaction from my dad. I remember that like it was yesterday.
That's so cute.
And he and his best buddy were there, and they were very intoxicated. And they were dancing their asses off in the stands. They thought it was so funny. So I'm lucky, I guess I can remember that exact moment.
I don't remember the first moment because there's been so many, obviously. But I do remember the first time because I was a catcher in fast pitch, and I remember the first time throwing somebody out at second base.
Dude,
that's cool.
That's the best feeling ever. I can't top that.
You threw the sumbitch out trying to steal on you.
Gosh, that feels so good. I
Catcher's
can
mask.
feel
Did
that.
you tear the mask off your face?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Nice.
Mask goes off first.
I also got stopped at second base, but that was with Nick's sister.
Oh, my God.
This was at First Avenue. She stopped me at second.
Do I got to sign up? Do I got to give you the line again?
Yeah, because the first time you gave me that line, it nearly killed me.
Yeah, Josh.
By the way, I'll say this is a 100% true story.
Yeah, you know how Josh is. You know.
I'm in love with his sister.
Well, that, and you are absolutely almost unable to walk due to the weight of Catholic guilt. The overwhelming weight of Catholic guilt has kept you down your entire life. So, despite the fact that it's none of my business what he's doing with my sister, you're both grown people, he still felt the need to tell me this. Just like he told his dad the first time he masturbated, for Christ's sake. You felt the need to tell me that you had made out with my sister. And you said, hey, we were at First Ave, and we had some drinks in us, and you went on and on with the story and says, and I got to second base. And I said, huh. You're the only guy I know that had to stop at second base with my sister. Kind of threw a monkey wrench into your story.
I felt a lot better, actually.
The only guy I know that had to stop there. What the hell's wrong with you?
Half-assed morning show.
What's a push pop? It's a sexual term that I just made up.
What's a push pop?
I'll send you some links.
On 93X.
Tell you what, we're rolling here shortly. But we want to continue this conversation on the best firsts that we all experience. Now, Barstool Sports ranked these best firsts. Their list is interesting. I'll call it that, interesting. There's some really good stuff in there, but there's some stuff that I personally don't think belong. The most common answers we've gotten so far are the ones you'd expect. Driving. First time getting drunk, first time getting high, first time buying beer, first time buying grass, first trip to the boom boom room. I think those are the most common ones we've received so far, and those are all wonderful firsts. Wonderful.
Yeah, the driving thing. The first time you have your license and you can drive by yourself.
So long,
I could not
suckers.
wait. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I had it by 8, maybe 8 a.m. on my 16th birthday. I had my license. I could not wait.
Me too.
Where'd you go?
Driving around.
Do you remember?
Well, I was in Egan. That's where I started. That's where the test was. And then me and a bunch of buddies just kind of drove around the lakes. I grew up in Minneapolis. We just kind of drove around the lakes looking for fly honeys.
Word.
Of course. Someone texted in
Which
one.
Which doesn't work in March, by the way. Go ahead.
Someone texted in one that I'm sure you can relate to.
What's that?
Getting your first break and run, playing billiards.
Oh, break and run. Oh, it doesn't happen often.
No.
Doesn't happen often. But I think I did it to you at my house.
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
Last year.
That's impressive.
Pocket billiards.
Happened so fast.
One of my favorite pastimes is pocket billiards. Here are some text messages from our listeners. Then we'll get to the rest of what Barstool Sports had to say about it in a minute. Here are some answers from our listeners. The ones that were a little out of the common get laid, get drunk kind of a thing. Your very first dog. I remember Clancy. Sure, first dog.
My dad
maybe they mean when you're a grown person, but I was picturing when you were a little kid and you get a little.
Oh yeah, I was picturing grown, but yeah, kid.
Yeah. Either way, they're both special.
My dad surprised us, which I thought was super cute because I always saw that in the movies, and I always thought, what if that happened to me one day? I come home and there's actually a dog here.
Oh wow!
And one day there was, little puppy, black lab.
What was his name?
Harley.
Harley, the black lab puppy.
Yep.
Ours didn't last very long. We lived on a busy street, and unfortunately. I went to overnight camp, came back, and he had passed.
You went to overnight camp?
Yeah, one night. I told you it was a horrible experience.
Yeah.
Overnight camp. I got in a fight with the kid over underwear. I slept on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Accidentally, trying to look cool in front of the camp counselors, accidentally touched one of the girls' butts. It was miserable.
You were never meant to be away from home.
No, not at all.
Even when you were little.
Nope.
You're covered in peanut butter, you got boob on your hand, and you're fighting with another kid over whose underwear this pair belongs to.
And they were mine. But yeah, we did. He tried to steal my underwear. It was a nightmare. Then on the way home, my dad pulls over and tells me that my dog died. And that was the one thing I was looking forward to. Well, at least I can go home and get some love from my dog.
Oh, man.
That's such a bad 24 hours.
Was the dead dog in the trash can?
No.
Because once
they buried him in the backyard.
Curtis came home and his dog was in the trash can because it died while he was at school and his parents thought it was fitting to put it in the trash can. Okay, not all of these firsts, not all of them are common, but this one I found interesting from a listener. First broken bone. Now, I've been real lucky. I've had my nose broken for me a couple times, but I've never broken a significant bone ski.
Me either, and I don't know how people can do it. because it just looks so itchy having that cast on.
Oh, I thought you were going to refer to the pain of the break, but
No,
the itch, sure, of the cast. First kill.
Loading.
I believe they mean wild game, of course.
Yeah, I hope so.
That's a good feeling, yeah.
First time a woman called me daddy in a sexual manner, says a listener.
I'm still waiting for that.
That's a keeper. You remember that one. First time parents left you alone for the weekend.
Never happened.
Yeah, it didn't really happen for me either.
Never once.
They never did that. They made sure that they didn't. They were smart.
Are you guys serious?
Well, my parents never went anywhere. I mean, so I come from a long line of avid indoorsmen. And then also, I lived in a commune, so even if they decided to go, I'd have a grandma, aunt, uncle, all that kind of stuff.
Dana, your folks never left you alone for the weekend?
No.
So you never had one high school party?
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
I was never the kid that got to call up all my buddies and say, "Hey, the folks are going to Florida. Get your ass over here."
So you weren't either. None of you were alone until you left the house?
No, there was one time.
Even then I wasn't alone.
There was one time in high school where they left for the weekend, and it was just me and like 3 of my friends, and we just ended up smoking weed the whole weekend.
Oh my God, we go crazy when our folks would leave for the weekend. Come on!
I was
Everybody
too
get
scared.
it. Who's invited? Everybody.
I actually didn't mind it too much because I never had to deal with the stress of the cleanup or getting caught or anything. I could just go do that at my friends' houses.
Oh, it was worth it. First time, here's another first from a listener, Josh. Are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here.
First time a woman sees your pee-pee.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I used to shatter light bulbs just to make sure that would never happen. Oh, no, another broken light bulb. What's going on?
First blind date. First blind date.
Never been on a blind date.
I guess like meeting on a dating app and never meeting them in person. Does that kind of count? Because that...
I guess that's the modern version of a blind date. I don't know.
But
that was weird. I didn't like that.
First time, first divorce, first time hearing White Line's cover of Radar Love.
Ecstasy, pure ecstasy.
It is. It's a beautiful version. This one really grabbed me, as you might imagine it would grab anybody. First firefight in Iraq.
Oh.
And the listener says, I was all like, what the F? They're really shooting at me?
I bet.
I can't even imagine. I just watched, over the weekend, I watched Surviving Black Hawk Down. Did you guys watch that yet?
No,
I never saw it.
On Netflix, 3-part series on the October 3rd, 1993. I'm sure everybody's heard the story or seen the movie. And that's powerful, to say the least, to watch that.
I don't know if I'm emotionally ready for that.
Well,
it'll get you in the feels for sure. You'll feel something.
That was a fun conversation. I really did enjoy our conversation on our lifetime firsts. And, the soldier who texted in, I mean, I could see myself having that same mindset. Sure, I'm fully prepared for this, or at least in my mind, I think I'm prepared for this. But then when it actually cuts loose on you, I bet a lot of folks in that situation think, oh, my damn, it's really happening. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I wonder if you can be prepared enough, if it's possible to be prepared for something like that.
That is something.
Yeah.
You friggin' people. I learn new things about you every day, it seems. You never had that chance once when you were in high school to destroy your parents' house and then desperately put it back together at the last minute.
No, sir.
No. Oh, I wish.
A lot of vomit. The first time we hosted a party, I shouldn't have been, but I was surprised by the amount of vomit that ended up everywhere.
You weren't prepared for that?
I wasn't. I mean, I knew it was going to be bad, but I didn't know it would be so much vomit.
I told you how a buddy of mine, his older sisters got caught because they cleaned everything up, but what they didn't realize is there was footprints on the ceiling.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And my friend's mom's like, what the hell's that?
No, we didn't get caught that time.
That's so good.
Yeah, that's a great story. We didn't get caught that first time. It was much, much later in our high school party career that my mother said, okay, you guys had a kegger, didn't you? But it was, again, because of vomit. We thought we had covered everything, my brother and I, everything on the inside of the house. But we didn't check the outside, and it was the dead of winter, and what got us busted was frozen vomit in the driveway.
No.
God dang it, we didn't check the driveway.
Why would you?
There was a big pool of frozen little chicken McNuggets in there and whatnot.
So good.
Yeah, they're very good.
I'd imagine you checked that driveway after that.
We
huh?
did.
Yeah.
We did. We started to
Put
cover
that on the list of things to
cover
check.
the outside of the house, Cubby, as well. Okay, we got to get going again.
What it do? Jesus text in a dirty 30 shout out to his hot wife. He said it's going to get dirty tonight. Happy 46 to Army Mailman Jesus. Happy birthday to Honey Badger Jesus from the Bearded Chicken Jesus. Thank you for listening and have a great day.
93X.
Hey, podcast listeners. Dana here. Can I let you guys in on a little secret? Just between us? We like all of you much, much more than the folks that listen live. But no matter how, when, or where you check out the Hams podcast, we got to give thanks to our friends at Standard Heating for making it all possible. It's been a pretty tame winter so far, but we know well enough that we're not out of the woods yet. So hit up standardheating.com to get them out to your house to make sure your furnace is tuned up to do all of the furnace-y types of things it's supposed to do. I'm still learning the lingo. Make that appointment today. Become a Smart Club member like me. That's standardheating.com.